Welcome back, sleepers, to another month episode here of the one, the only, a Dune Awakening round table, where not only do I get to talk about Dune, but you get to join me and you can come into Discord and express your inner thoughts about how the game is looking, how it's going, what you feel could be improved, what you feel should be improved, what you feel is improving. It does not matter. Your opinion counts, and that's all that I really want you to understand. Coming in here tonight, we have a lot of things that we want to be discussing. As everyone knows, I myself am even lackadaisically taking a step into Dune Awakening nowadays as I'm playing other games and having fun with them. But, you know, once again, I'm never actually leaving Dune. I can't express that enough to anybody. Love the game to death. I just wish that there were certain things in the game that was actually happening to literally, you know, incentivize me to want to spend all day long inside the game. Still, there are things to go. There is the in-game and things along these lines that we can be talking about. Tonight, I would like to cover a whole plethora of topics that we can be covering over in terms of not only the overall stability, bug fixes that are happening going on inside the game, quality of life, in-game improvements that I think are really kind of shaping up decently, but not exactly where they need to be at this point currently. The future of PvP balancing and, of course, the fairness that's going to be going with it. Where do we draw the line in the sand for what is fair for PvP and what isn't? And what do we think PvP should actually look like? These are all very important questions that we need to be addressing and looking at as we are moving through these weeks coming up on the server mergers that are popping in here pretty soon. Also, that new content and activities that will probably more or less be affecting the way that we are looking at the game and wanting to spend our time in and around it itself. The server and, of course, the social improvements that have been coming through with character transfers. And, of course, the mergers that are about to be dropping in. This is going to be a huge change in the way in which we, as people playing this game, are going to be viewing everything around us. Of course, the performance optimization. Are we seeing better optimization, or are we just hearing optimization and still getting a whole hell of a lot of lag? Not only that, but to bounce back to that final thing that I just said right before this, which was with the server mergers. How will optimization be working when that kicks in? Because that is a definite scary thing that we have to be looking at and wondering about as we are moving forward. More frequent updates and dev responses, because at this point, I feel as if Funcom is one of the more secretive gaming companies out there. They're not really offering us that transparent view of everything around that's going on. We tend to get things dropped in our laps without even realizing that it's about to be dropped in our lap. And so these are the type of things that I definitely want to be looking at in terms of how dev responses as well as more frequent updates are going to be dropping out. Moving on to that is going with, you know, just is there better gameplay flow and things along these lines? Do you guys think that in-game death, PvP versus PvE identity, or the economy and the exploits that we are finding in the game are affecting everything and the way that the devs are trying to move this game forward? I don't know, but you guys might. And what we want to do is have a long discussion about this stuff tonight. So welcome back in here, and I am happy to see all of you guys jumping in here early with me. Overall, I believe Dune is still a great game. Just want to drop this out here before we get started. JP, how's it going? Good to see you. I know you want to get in here and talk tonight. We're going to give a little bit of time for the audience to like warm up and jump in. It's still a tad bit early for people to be getting in on Saturday. Tricks, the state of the game is not so bad, actually. I mean, it just depends on how deep you got and depends on what your intentions for the game are. I don't think the game is cooked, as Sunshin basically said. I wouldn't definitely say that Dune is not cooked, but I would like to see a lot of improvements, and I would like to have more information on what the future plans are of the game. But I mean, once again, depending on what you're wanting out of the game, it's going to depend on what state the game is in, because there is still a lot of time for things to be improved, and there are a lot of areas for us to be like expanding into, to look at and find more efficient as well as more cooperative manners of making the game work for both the PvP and the PvE community. Astrom, how's it going? Thanks for jumping in and saying hi. Razzle as well. Good to see you again. Hope everybody's doing well out there in the world. Once again, we are just going to try to warm up everybody until we can get about 20 to 40 people up in both YouTube and in Twitch. And then we will be moving in to the interview segment of the overall show of the game. Now, the first thing that I mentioned earlier was the major improvements, and major improvements not always are in a positive light of framed in a positive light. For example, there are lots of patches that are coming out. We do see that the Funcom dev team are putting some kind of effort into making the game work properly. We've seen that they are trying to appease the masses by eliminating people who are using exploits or things which are damaging to the game. We see that they are, without a doubt, doing their best to at least fix a lot of issues that are in the game. Some that we want, some that we don't want. Obviously, I know some people might be a little bit sad with the latest patch, which supposedly has fixed the quote-unquote repair bug that was found multiple times in different ways with different containers. But overall, here is the issue that we have to be looking at. That is, or not such the issue we have to look at, but one thing that we need to touch on and talk about, and that is, are these patches actually helping the game, or are they starting to actually have a hindering effect on everything? Astero says 1.3.10 update broke the in-game. Testing stations are only doable solo. Punishing when you play with friends. Currently, only gathering resources and PvP in deep desert are fun. So this is a really touchy subject for me, Astrom. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I don't want to say it broke the end game. I think it shifted the line of the end game in a different direction than what it was. And I believe that, in a sense, what Funcom has given us is the outlook of a end game, which was more orientated for the larger group of player base that was on at that time. And I don't blame them for trying to implement testing stations out there in the overland map. In fact, I really think that was a good move by Funcom to be doing this. The major issue that it did rise is that it literally did render the deep desert more or less 99% inefficient or ineffective, pretty much useless to be jumping out there and playing. I know people are out there trying to PvP, but once again, when it comes down to PvP as well out in the deep desert, I have got to say Funcom has already taken away the glorious end of what people who were big into PvP really wanted to focus on by allowing it where people can now escape. And, if you know what you're doing, you're not going to die out there in the deep desert. If you know what you're doing, you get yourself set up, you get yourself ready. And of course, with these testing stations and the new weapons, there's a lot of aspects that go into this. Like, obviously, I can't cover it all. But what I'll say is, for the larger picture, the people who are out there doing the PvP, in my opinion, are literally trying to, once again, just gank. And then once they do face somebody who can PvP, they literally just start running away, and there's no way to catch them. They're going to go off on their own little tantrum, and then it just becomes a chat room war battle over who's right, who's wrong, yada, yada, yada. I don't necessarily think that's bad either, but it does grow old on you really quick whenever you're trying to play the game the way you want to play it. They're playing it the way they want to play it. It is what it is. Don't necessarily think that they've destroyed the end game. I think that, once again, they've just fallen short of the mark in making the end game a incentivized game loop. That's what I want to say. An incentivized game loop for people to actually jump in there and feel as if they are getting their money's worth out of running these in-game, the in-game loop itself, which we know the in-game loop is one of two things. Basically, one side, you have the overland testing stations, which for me were absolutely like cat's meow for about a month. And then the same 5 testing stations over and over again, no matter how much level or how more difficult or how much more damage you give the boss. Whether you can or can't do them doesn't necessarily matter to me in this situation. It more or less ended up being it's not that fun. It's kind of like getting that neighborhood bicycle, not that neighborhood bicycle, but like, you're getting that bicycle that you ride around forever and you think it's cool for like a week or two. Then you start seeing other people riding around on better bicycles and you're like, nah, it was cool until I saw something better. And so I think they have fallen short once again, but this is a game in development and in constant production. So once again, we have to kind of sit back. We have to say, quite possibly, there is going to be more highlights coming up in the future. I just don't know how much Funcom is able to deliver whenever they do drop these big DLCs. We'll have to wait and see. They need in-game events to feed the PvP players. Yeah, so I think we'll probably be getting into this a lot tonight, JP, because I know you want to come on and speak, and I appreciate and thank you for waking up early to jump in here and do it. Like, I never want to bring someone in and start talking to them too early because literally we're talking about there being an issue with like nobody there to hear you. Give me 1 second. I am waiting for a phone call from my son. I will be right back in 1 second. There we go. Sorry about that. As many people know that come into the stream and watch, my son has just entered the Korean military, and we waited all day long at home for his phone call, and when he finally did give us a call, it was his squadron commander, and he was like, "I'm sorry, your son didn't charge his battery. We will allow him to call you back later on tonight." And I have the round table, so I can't exactly just sit around the house waiting all night for whether he will or won't. So my wife was just calling to tell me that if it does happen, she will record it. So anyways, moving back into the flow of what we're at. Yeah, I do believe that they need to have things that are funneling and controlling PvP, JP. I am a big fan of that as well. I don't necessarily like open free ganking PvP. Even in most games, I don't like it. I know there are a lot of people that do, and there have been times where I've jumped in with the right crowd of people, and you can grow and get excited whenever you have the right crowd that is going around winning. But the overall impact of these type of scenarios hurt the game, in my opinion, more than they help. But I mean, this could be a discussion that we get into a little bit later. There needs to be a better reward system on the land trad, and houses need to matter. It wouldn't give PvP players something to do, and the testing stations would be for the PvE players. So, yeah, I've always said this as well. This game doesn't have a true faction. This game has an all versus all scenario. So, still to this point, I do believe they need to, whether it's focusing on houses, which we have discussed before in roundtables, or, actually just make factions something that is doable. They need to do something about it. I absolutely agree with you on that one too. With in-game being 30 sectors or 330, apologize. 3 sectors, DVD, PvP, DD, resource gathering, and testing stations, limiting or preventing people from group play in testing stations. Feels like that 1/3 of the game is now missing. So here's the thing that's always been the issue with Dune Awakening. That is, it has a great front end, early, mid game, and the end game has always been in shambles. And it has flown back and forth depending on what team you're on, PvP or PvE. And they can't find a comfortable resting point for it, and that is definitely leaving a huge hole in the soul of this game, and it's making it very hard to get the identity to like pop out and be very clear for people to see. So definitely I agree. It does definitely feel a tad bit like stuff is missing, but they are once again acknowledging that they understand this and they're trying to like implement stuff whenever it comes into chapter 4. We will have to wait and see. And he is right. If you look at Astron, you are 100% right about doing the testing stations and uttering the other players. The math does not math up. Yeah, it doesn't. But we always knew that. So you guys can't be too extremely upset about the outcome that we are currently facing with chapter 3, because overall, I would say the game should have been launched with chapter 3, but chapter 3 was kind of an extension of the release date for them to like make things look better. I don't know how much in depth they were thinking about what chapter 3 was going to implement whenever they did do it, but what it did do was offer a more grind worthy end game for people to be playing on. So, you know, that is what it is. And they had always told us that chapter 3 was going to be more of a PvE focus. So we always knew there was going to be a huge gap on the PvP side of the game. And this is supposed to be addressed with chapter 4, whether it will or not. We have to kind of wait and see, but that's what we're here for in this roundtable, is for us to get these frustrations and these opinions out so that we can all start trying to come to a consensus or find something that we actually do kind of agree with or disagree with and try to move forward with it. And hopefully we can start addressing these concerns to Funcom at some point in the future. I am going to wait to talk. Yeah, okay, just do that, JP. Seriously, is what you should do, because you don't want to waste it all here. I know you're excited to get on. We're almost up to that comfort number that I like to see, which is usually about 25 to 30 on Twitch and about 20 on YouTube. I don't want to bring you in too early. Otherwise, everything you're saying literally just goes into the empty void, and the vast majority of people that pop in a little bit later won't even have context to what you're saying. So definitely wait on all these great ideas that you're trying to put in. They should add a gladiatorial arena for PvPers. Can go solo, duo, or whole guild versus guild. Now that's actually Vector. And how you doing tonight, Vector? That's actually pretty cool. I like that. I've always thought about the arena as a 1v1, 2v2. I've never actually thought about it being guild versus guild or even 4v4. But once again, I believe once you add something like an arena for PvP, which they had claimed that they were going to be doing, right? They said that they were looking to do this. The thing that they aren't implementing, which I could have sworn I remember them saying they were going to, is a ranking system in the game for the testing stations. If they're going to implement something like a gladiatorial arena, they need to have some way for people to flex and say, look, we are the best. Otherwise, it's all for nothing. There's just people blabbering on both sides and saying we're the best, and then it goes nowhere. People get frustrated. They move to games that have that stuff. But that's an excellent idea, Vector. Thank you for dropping that one out there. Battleground is the solution. You think so, Razzle? Quite possibly. I don't disagree with you. Here is the only issue that I'll go with, because I've toiled this around with a couple of people in terms of the Battleground. The biggest issue that comes with the Battleground is the way the loot system works inside of this game. And, you know, if you are in a Battleground all day long dying, you are suffering the consequences of losing gear left and right, because wear and tear just kicks in. So for me to be confident in a Battleground to work, I would have to say that like a Battleground, instanced Battleground, would have to have none of the constraints for the wear and tear of gear and weaponry, or if it is, it's so minute that you can do it for like a week without dying with it. Whereas open world, I still believe can be as like punishing as they want it to be. It's just the way that it goes. Bum. 32 versus 32, huh? I would have to be there. There we go. Razor's Ridge. I can't even load into all the overland locations. Now, Razor, this is what pissed me off last night, was even getting into the simple overland locations. And I'm glad that you brought this up, because this is definitely one of these quality of life, or like, that definitely falls inside of, the improvements of optimization. Now, they're wanting to push us into servers with like 500 to 600 people, maybe even more, maybe less. We don't really know, because once again, Funcom isn't too transparent with what their actual goals are at this point. But they're trying to push us into a larger server scenario. And it seems like the more people we are getting in these servers, the more wait time it is to do something as simple as to get into, say, the Blushing Caverns. And in my opinion, this is absolutely garbage. Like, there should be no queue. Not only is the questing system very redundant and a little bit not essentially a fun thing to do. When you add like a 5-minute queue time to get in to try to even complete like one quest, that's whenever you start going borderline of like, nobody wants to do this anymore. So I'm with you on that. And there's something that I do want to address. And at some point tonight, I do want to more or less, bring this topic up in general, because we need to make sure that Funcom is optimizing everything so that we're not having to be in queues for something as small as just doing a Landrad mission. So I know exactly how you feel. I took a shower before I came in, and my skin's starting to dry up a little bit. You guys get to see me get oiled up. Yeah. Moving on, Spiky Dragonfly. How's it going, Spiky? I'm glad to see you jumping in on the round table. Spiky, if you guys don't know, is also a streamer, but he is not a Dune streamer. He is a streamer of the famous game Icarus. And I've been trying to talk him into joining us in Dune. And I think he's kind of interested in the game. Hopefully he does come in, but it is absolutely fantastic to see you in here. This is like the mainstay, Spiky, that I was talking to you about as we were streaming Icarus. This channel more or less focuses and lives and breathes around Dune Awakening. So I'm glad that you're going to be able to sit in and hear some conversations on the game, and maybe you'll answer some of the stuff that you were interested in about whether it is worth your time in buying the game and playing. A little bit of Elden Ring, huh? Okay. Well, I mean, if you stick around this channel long enough, we do give away free games, so keep that in mind as well. I'd love that. Battlegrounds with restrictions on wear and tear. It'll be less of a survival game, step by step, though. I think they can still. I believe that a game's identity can have multiple purposes. A good view of that is, I mean, in all fairness, look at WoW. Look at Star Wars Galaxy, SWTOR. Look at these different MMO type games that literally have like an open world adventure schema, but also have a PvP element that is separate from it. And it allows everybody to go through, do their quest, do their gathering, do their building. Here's the other issue with what I want to throw in there about why Dune is a little bit lagging behind with the rest of the world. And that is the general fact that I don't think the crafting is that in depth. Yeah, it's gathering a few things and it's putting it together for like creation, but I think there's still some room to grow there for the crafting side of Dune. And I mean, for example, I could see something like farming implemented. I could see there's just like 1,000 possible things that could like go in to making Dune actually a more survival-y type game. Because in terms of the survival aspect, the only thing that I really feel survivability out of when it comes to this game is the fact that you have to drink water all day long if you aren't in a still suit. So beyond that, I don't really feel too much of a survival aspect of the game. So definitely they could be trying to find ways to make it more in depth for this stuff. And if not, then that battleground scenario will give it a little extra flair for maybe possibly making a new identity for the game that people are going to enjoy and want to jump in and play on. New content, new locations. So the newest location that was just dropped here recently is our creepy, crawly Shima or whatever area of the map. What are you guys feeling about this? Is it creepy, scary for you? I have had people talk to me and they've said differing opinions on it. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but I also think Funcom has a real issue with bringing a living, breathing world into existence. I don't know how much you guys get into reading, but hey, what's up, Steven Adams? How you doing? Whenever it comes down to like reading a good book and reading an excellent book by an excellent author, you can tell the difference between what is being proposed to you as you're reading through it as it's just a good story, but everything seems kind of empty, not too lifelike. Whereas a great author will be able to make the whole environment feel as if it's a living and breathing thing. And I definitely believe that Funcom lacks the ability to pull this off. I mean, it's a tough thing to do. It's not as if I'm saying this as if like I could do it. No. I mean, creating a world in a universe that really is living, breathing, feels alive is not one of the easiest things to do. And I just always, even with Conan, it was definitely like that. Like, I mean, there are times in Conan where I kind of felt like, oh, I'm getting pulled in. And I have to say, the beginning of Dune is very engaging, but the new stuff that they're bringing out just seems to be like uncooked bread, though. Like, it has potential, but it isn't exactly going to be what you're going to make that PB&J sandwich out of, right? The new area, it's not bad, but not great. Mostly meh. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that, Vector. I'm not feeling too great about it. I definitely think they could be doing more stuff. But I mean, we can't be too upset though, guys. Like, they are literally adding new content to the game for us to be running and doing, and that is what a good game company does. You can't really be mad at them if the presentation of the new content doesn't actually turn into what you are actually looking for. So let's just, in this case, I have to say, I also am not too entirely impressed with it, but it's new content. It just feels like it's, for me, it feels like it's the same tab of butter being spread on the bread. It's just that same tab has just been spread to a new corner of the bread. So I think something new could be a good mix-up. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know how hard it is to do that. I'm literally just the Siskel and Ebert here, like sitting back and like making comments on how I feel about stuff. So what do I know anyways? So, little update from my side. I was given an opportunity to move to another server and join another Atreides guild. And I did. It's another EU server, and the guild is just perfect. Awesome, Vladimir. I'm happy to hear that. They are more online than the other guild. They appreciate me as a person. They are not judgmental in any way. A guild that supports each other. Yes, a guild that wants to play. A guild that where no one is left behind. Awesome, Vladimir. I'm really happy to hear that. In all fairness, hey, Mr. Temp, how's it going? In all fairness, we try to do the same thing on the NA servers, but right now we are in kind of the trough of the wave, as we are just kind of burned out on Dune, which I think a lot of people really are. But Vladimir, what you've done is exactly what I've been telling everyone they need to be targeting from this day forward, which is you don't need to worry about quitting Dune because you have to move off your server. You need to be finding a community which is going to fit and suit you properly. That right there is what is going to make the difference for you, whether you're going to like it or not like it in the future. The new era is not bad, but not great. Mostly yeah, the entire Haga Basin stuff is so good. Even everything related to the story missions in the chapters. And this is, Astrom, this is why I'm also a tad bit sad that they aren't finding ways to bring us back into the Haga Basin. I know they are. I know there are Landsrad missions, but those Landsrad missions, here's the problem with the Landsrad mission. Landsrad missions are meant to be done quick. They're like McDonald's, dude. They're drive-through missions. You get in, you order your Big Mac, you get out. And that's all that you're supposed to do. That's the in-game grind. But they're not finding ways really to pull us back in and immerse us back into the Haga Basin. And for me, the Haga Basin was absolutely the best part of this game. Because after the Haga Basin, it just, that black hole starts, you start creeping closer to that point of no return in the black hole. I just had a double cheeseburger on my way here, Steven Adams. So don't feel guilty if you jump in there and go grab yourself a Big Mac. McDonald's isn't bad. It's like my favorite comedian, Jim Gaffigan, says, if you don't like McDonald's, screw you. McDonald's doesn't want you either. I also read yesterday from a DC channel from other guild on the other server that there is one guy going completely haywire against people in DD. In Cetus, we have a handful of people who are pushing some kind of agenda, but there's only like 3 of them. It's not a big deal. And the only reason that they're getting kind of puffed up right now is because the vast majority of us are kind of lacklusterly logging in, just doing missions because, I got you. But we also are having this, like, this is what is going on. And I think it's going to be a reality on all servers here pretty soon. But our reason for not being so active currently is we all see merger coming up and it looks like a tsunami. And whenever that comes, I would rather jump into like organizing and keeping stuff flowing with a fresh mind and like some energy than like going in at it as like, oh, this sucks. This is going to be horrible. This wave is going to hit me hard. I don't know how I'm going to handle it. So we'll just have to wait and see how stuff goes. But like, once again, Vladimir, I'm super happy that you have actually found a place. I know you're in Netherlands. So it's always great to get you a good, are you in Norway now? I thought you were in the Netherlands, Vladimir. Anyways, I'm glad that you found yourself a good home and a good place with people. Like there are good communities out there, guys. You just have to find them, and that is going to be like the beginning of the end for you. Like once you find a great community, you can roll with them as long as you absolutely want. I'm an old guy, Vladimir. My brain doesn't tick the way that it used to. Considering that you donated money to YouTube using Norwegian kroner, I don't know why I thought that. Yes. Deep apologies. Who we missed? Miss Tip already said hello to you. Obsidian, good morning to you as well. Thank you for jumping in and giving your insight. I've already told you, but in 26 years of Funcom games, they've never managed to make a game with a balanced, fun PvP. They're very good at creating stories, but in the most of their games, it's still just mass grinding. Yeah, I think so as well, Grezel. And this is why I'm actually constantly bringing this point up and trying to like express it to as big of a crowd as I can. Sometimes people get the wrong idea and they think Nerdbird's being a tad bit too skeptical or like too critical of the game in Funcom, but I'm not. I love the game. I think this game has one of the most solid foundations that you can find in gaming today. It's just I hope that the Funcom dev team can like think out of the box, their little box. Thanks, Alaskan. Yeah, well, I mean, I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't cut my beard until my boy gets out of the military. That's 8 weeks. I'll probably be like a very bushy, like mountain man looking guy by then. Yeah, there you go, Grunge. Games like this come and go in waves. Yeah, but I have love for the game, JP, and I want it to actually last and exist. And we're about to be starting the interview section of this game or of this show. So if you guys can hold on a second. One more time, Omen Papa. How's it going, Omen Papa? I also just doing dailies and chill for some time. Running dungeons feels like a waste of time without double loot. Also, everything will be so much easier with higher specializations in the future. It's like, sure, I can finish it today too, but why would I want to push it when it's going to get so much easier week by week? Agreed. And that's kind of where we're at. All they need to do is have some form of tracking PvP numbers and then PvP them somehow, somewhere in the social hubs. Also, the bad times for labs and races. Yeah, Razor, absolutely. Anything is great. Santa Claus, Vectors. Vector X, Santa Claus to you as well, I guess. Christmas came early for me. Laughing out loud, don't trim it at all. Start practicing braiding. Laughing out loud. Still wanting to hear back from Funcom on my deadly intelligence issue. You'll have to explain that one out to me a little bit later, Obsidian. The factions version. My issue is Landsrat burnout, but you need to do them to progress. Yeah, Mr. Tim, that is the biggest issue currently right now, and that is what is killing me. And not just me, the majority of the people in our like Nerdbird community who all still log in, we all still play Dune, we all still do this, but we just cringe at having to get in and do those quests. And in all fairness, we all knew this was going to be like the outcome at some point or not. So it's our own fault for like, being where we are, when we are, things along these lines. Hold on. I'm having a little bit of a Discord issue, JP. There we go. Okay. So once again, as we have now built up kind of a decent size audience to sit around, listen, and to give out their opinions on how the game should be going, what they would like to see change different, and literally just, share their points of view with people so that we can see. I want everyone to remember, first of all, the way that you get in here is you jump into Nerdbird Discord. You go to Stream Pool. Here, let me show you how to do that really quick so that you can see exactly where you need to be going. My picture is like dead smack in the middle. Let's turn that off. So all that you're going to be doing is jumping into Discord. You can sit right here in the stream pool area. This is an unlocked area. If you have something to say, you want to talk about things with me one-on-one, express your views, things along these lines, this is where you want to go. I will pull you up. We will have discussions and talk through stuff. Once we're done with our talks, though, I will probably drop you back down into that stream pool. If you are down in the stream pool and you have something else you would like to share with the community, please just ping me and I will get you back up here to do this. Keep in mind, we are an open community to everybody's opinion. There's no such thing as a wrong opinion. There are just differences in opinions, and we as grown individuals need to make sure that we continuously have a open-minded discussion with each other without any due arguments in terms of calling people names or saying like rude stuff to people. We have to stay civil, and this is what we are trying to pursue. So let's have it. We've been great so far this year. Nobody has ever like came out and been outwardly like bastardly towards anyone. So let's try to keep that going. And everybody, without further ado, I would like to first drop in here today. The one, the only. This is JP. Now, JP has had a controversial time in our chats in the past because I think he's very PvP orientated. But hear me out, guys. JP has a lot of good stuff to say. JP, sorry about that. Would you please give everybody a introduction of yourself? Tell them about who you are, where you come from, and then let's start this discussion.
I'm JPK Napier. I'm just an older guy that likes playing video games. I'm a Funcom fan. Dune became a real. I kind of knew what I was getting myself into because I played Conan from closed beta to about a year ago. So I understand a lot of the. I want to say small things that, like you mentioned one thing, Funcom being very secretive about their updates. They are, and it's very annoying. I will agree with you on 100% on that all day. And also, I would also like to get this smoke and clear the smoke. I am not a huge PvP player, not anymore at least. I'm maybe 10 years ago, but I but my argument, my controversial in your Discord is it sounds like I am a PvP player and I want PvP to be a little more what they want it to be, as in like the deep desert being a full PvP thing, and I really didn't want to jump down that road right away. But I don't think PvP should be taken away from the game in the way that some of the community wants it to. But I also think that Funcom needs to step up and put some in-game events to keep the PvP players active, because the only thing that they have right now is the deep desert. That's it. They have spice fields, and let's hide behind this cave, and when somebody comes, I'm gonna get them. And let's be real, what do you gain? Unless you have voted that the gear drops, you only get what they're picking up, and you can pick that up by yourself without having to sit there and wait for a player to attack. So there is no point to PvP. You see what I'm saying?
100%. It's been a major issue for a while.
Huge.
You might want to turn off the stream voice, by the way, because I'll be talking to you via the
my bad.
the stream.
I didn't even realize.
No, it's okay. I didn't tell you that before you jumped in as well. But yeah, I'll be talking to you that way. Now, we have to kind of look at what you're saying here is overall, I think, always been the issue with PvP in this game. They kind of gave us that front end, and then they threw everyone into PvP, and more or less, some wanted it, some didn't want it. It sucked.
But they also it also like they expect us to build arenas and run our own tournaments, and I speak from experience from running multiple Conan servers and doing it on an official server. When you get into building arena and you have multiple guilds and one person's involved in building the arena and one person's involved in getting it together, it will work for a while, but then people's ideas clash and it crumbles. It needs to be like, we have an arena in game that was designed for the storyline, and they have said that they want to implement to where we can use that arena, but it has to be something to where if you want a PvP, me and you go there, we agree on the match, we can wager something, and there's something there. But then at that point, you also have to have a casual mode and a ranked mode, and I would say the ranked mode would have to be tied in with the Landsrad, which that's a big issue in the game itself. The Landsrad and the houses have no meaning. They need to matter. That would drastically give the PvP players something to do. That's one of my biggest arguments is you have to. Funcom cannot depend on us as a community to completely finish the end game for them.
That is so much the issue with Funcom. Look, Conan is a great like base game to
I
start off
love
with,
Conan.
but it's Conan is like going to, for me at least, Conan is like going to, Sam's Club, getting a box of cake mix, pouring it in a bowl, but you can't make a cake with that cake mix until you buy 30 mods or you find 30 mods to make the game fucking good. And those are the eggs and the milk and the oil and all the stuff that you're pouring into it to make the game work, right? No, I'm 100% behind you. This is why this is just, I want to make this point really clear. This is why I didn't understand why people were having such an issue with what you were saying in Discord about stuff. Like from the beginning, I was like, I don't really take it that JP is trying to like tell us we all need to PvP or die. I kind of feel like he's trying to make a good point, and I agree. Like, keep going. What else would you like to throw out there on it?
So I think one of the problems, and it was my mistake, is I put, because this is such a touchy subject, and I said to myself before I got in here, I was like, we're not going to talk about PvP at first, and here we are. PvP is such a touchy subject. I put it at the top of my list, and I should have put it at the bottom, because I think they have to implement. My big argument was the deep desert should be PvP, right? I agree that Alpha and Bravo should stay PvE because they can leave metal there. That leaves metal for PvE players to go grind and not have to worry about that. Now the rest of the deep desert, I feel the point of the game was, if you want to be able to harvest spice or metal in high quantities, you have to be in the deep desert, and there is a risk. And if you want to take that risk, don't want to take that risk, you can get the metal in the A row. And I feel that they should bring medium fields to Haga that yield less than what you would get in the deep desert, right? So it's not punishing the PvE player, but it's saying, hey, you're a grinder, you don't really have that big of a threat other than getting ate by the worm, and you can reload your craft. You see where I'm trying to say? Like, this is somewhere of a balance that we have to find, and I think they're having a very hard problem doing that. And I think you played, if I'm correct, you played Myth of Empires, correct?
Oh, indeed, yeah.
Okay, see, there's very few people that I meet that talk about that. Do you remember how in Myth of Empires weekly you could bid on controlling the region, and you had to go into an event
Yes.
and fight for it?
Yes.
Why can you not implement something like that to the deep desert? That is giving the PV players, implementing an event. You build a base, right? We've got copying bases system. You have to bid on it. There's a house that has the control of the deep desert. You want to challenge them, you challenge them. You can't tell me the PvP players wouldn't be all over that.
I mean, they were all over at Myth of Empires. Like, that was a great freaking game.
Oh, there's a grind.
It was,
this game's a grind. Some people don't really understand it, and it's that with PvP is a big issue. Now, I could do like the loop system you were talking about with the Landsrad and the dailies. I think one of the reasons that happened is because this is one of my fun arguments about Dune. People got mad. They're like, I've thrown 500 hours into this game and there's no end game. And it's like, time out. You just played 500 hours on a game. Your average gameplay in most games is 80 to 120 hours, and that's on a good day. The beginning of the game was great. The end of the game was, beginning and middle was great. But when you get to the end game, there was nothing. So they created a loop system like the new specialty list. They put dailies in the game. Nobody wants to call the Landsrad what it is. The new Landsrad missions, they're dailies. They force you to come back to the game, and they had to do it because if they don't, us as gamers, we run through the content.
Well, I mean, there was no real content for Landsrad until this. In all fairness,
this, yeah, yes, no, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Have you ever heard? And most people, have you ever heard of like the three blade theory?
No,
sides of a blade?
I saw you say this earlier. Let us in on the three blade theory.
So the gaming industry consists of three sides of a blade. There's the developers, which want to make great games. There's the gamers, which want great games, and then there's the suits and ties, which are the investors. And we've seen this with Cyberpunk. We've seen it with No Man's Sky. I can go on and on and on. No Man's Sky is one of my favorite games to use as an example. It's a dead game. It's dead. It's just dead. Look at No Man's Sky now, right? DLCs allow these developers the chance to turn games into certain things. But the three blade theories is gamers, we're needy. Not only are we needy, we're very demanding, and we want it now, and we want it our way. Developers want to make their own games, right? They want to make what they want to make, and suits and ties want their money back. So there has to be a very balanced system between the three of those systems. And right now, I hate to say this, but I feel in some ways the gamers side, we we hold everything on these developers like they're not human and don't make mistakes.
100%.
You see what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah.
And I wanted to bring that up because that was said to me a few years ago, and it really humbled me, and that's why I kind of am sticking up for the PvP community, because PvP, there is a place for PvP in this game, but Funcom needs to figure out exactly how they want to do it. And I agree 100% with you. They need to stop being so secretive about it. And this right here, I hope they pay attention. We know they do, but this is more people need to do stuff with what you're doing. So they hear stuff like this. Now, you also talking about exploits and stuff like that. I hate them. The money glitch that was in Conan, but it was with Eldarium and resources, pretty much. Unfortunately, as a gamer, you have to accept that exploits are never going to go away.
They're never going away. Yeah.
No. And that's comes to the three blade theory, right? That falls on gamers. Those gamers, right, are making it harder for the developers to develop the game because they have to spend more time on the exploit that the hackers are hacking. And it's the three blade series. It has to be a good balance, right? I mean, is there the Landsrad and the house? I mean, again, that is a big thing that ties into PvP. They have to mean something. The houses have to matter for PvP to work in this game, I believe. I don't want to come out here and have anybody think that I'm like, this is the way it has to be. No, these are ideas, and I hope Funcom at least listens to this and more people do this, and we can get stuff like this figured out.
What is your opinion on separate servers with this, JP? Like pure PvP, pure PvE? Like, how would you feel about that being a fix for the game? Because a lot of people nowadays claim, including myself, actually, I think if they would have just separated them from the beginning, we would have still had like 30,000 people playing this game. I really believe this.
I don't know how many people. I can't say for a fact, but if I'm correct, Conan Exiles is the only survival game that I know of that has PvE servers, PvP, and PvEC.
Yeah, I don't think Ark does PvC.
No, nope.
They
Rust
do PvP, PvE. Rust does PvP, PvE. Wait,
that's it. Go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, so I my problem though with the way Conan is set up to where that game is really, if you want to play that game as a single player game, you can. And I learned this just about a year and a half ago, because that game was never meant to be an online game via Funcom. It was supposed to be a single player game, and they turned it into a multiplayer game. So there's your single player aspect of the game. The problem with separating the deep desert into like a PvE and a PvE deep desert for me is, why would anybody ever go to the PvP deep desert to get spice?
Yeah.
it's you know what I mean? It's a no-brainer. I don't feel like even the PvP players, I don't care how much PvP, you're going to hit a wall where you're going to go, you know what? I don't feel like keeping my head on a 360 all day today. I'm going to go to the PvE DD or deep desert and harvest with no threat other than the worm. Yeah. That's my biggest issue with that. That's why I think it would. I don't think it would kill the game, and I don't even think um if they keep the deep desert, it's going to kill the game completely. I think either way, they're going to lose a certain amount of fan base. The question is which one of the fan base can they keep more of? I
It,
hate to say it like that.
no,
I hate to
no,
say it
no,
like
no.
that.
You're no, and I think that can already be calculated more or less by looking at the four largest servers that
Yeah,
are currently in. Those are probably the numbers of people that are not going to leave. But I would say most of the people on the smaller servers that have just been farming, relaxing, not dealing with PvP at all, I
yeah.
think a lot of them would probably not want to continue on after a
Especially
reconversion.
especially people like I look out for I think in my mind I run again across a lot of gamers like it's a dad and his son or a husband and a wife. And then I've actually got in my guild I've got a husband and a wife and they're not very big PvPers. I've also played this game solo. Like the first like 6 months I was solo because I was like I don't care. I've played these games. I knew what I was getting myself into. Just as long as I stay on the grind and I don't let my base decay, I can always come back. Which obviously all that has changed drastically since then. But yeah, the balance of PvP and PvE is a big issue. We all know that, and I mean ultimately my I don't want to say answer, but my input on it is Funcom really needs to step up and stop depending on us to make the events. Just because they add in-game events does not mean that we as a community are going to stop making our own arenas out in the deep desert. We have one have been we've had one in our deep desert for the last 4 weeks. They go out there every week and make it, and they fight at least multiple times. And if you want, you can just go fly out there and fight each other. They were they were dropping thumpers outside, so the worms were breaching while people were fighting. It was super cool, and
Yeah.
it's something that the PV if you want to have that in the game, it's still there for the community to do. But Funcom has to implement something of organization on the PvP Landsrad house system. That's one of my biggest arguments. And let me note again, I am not a full on PvP player. I probably won't even participate in half of it unless, I get the itch or something like that. Once in a while, I like a little bit of PvP. I don't run from it, but it. I think that is a very big answer for this whole PvP problem. I can't say it's a fix, but I think it's a way that Funcom can really eliminate the toxicity that is happening in the deep desert.
Indeed. I mean, very good points. Once again, I didn't understand why you were getting negative feedback on what you're putting down.
I was talking
I
with
was
my
really,
guildmate.
I was
I was
really
like,
on
man,
there with you. Like, I didn't see so much negative there.
well, I was telling my guildmate Cthulhu, I was like, because he's actually the one that put me onto you because of your deep desert videos, and which those are great, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah.
And he was like, I told him I was like, Nerd was defending me a little bit, and and I wasn't trying to stir the pot. Again, I think really I think it was really my mistake because I put pretty much that PvP the deep desert needs to go back to the way it was, and that was
Mm.
the first thing I said, and I think that was one of the you see red and that's all you see. They got tunnel vision on PvP deep desert back to the original way. Oh, this guy's a full PvP player. He's toxic. All he wants to do is fly out in the desert and blow me up when I'm in the middle of harvesting spice, and I'm not that guy. I'm really not. Just so your community knows, we work with each other. It's it's also like I love what you guys do in the deep desert with like trying to control it on the good side. And a few weeks ago, I made a comment, and your community kind of was like, or the community was like looking at me as I was toxic because I said to you, I said, "How long until you become the toxicity
Yeah.
in the
Yeah. Yeah.
server?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And I was poking the bear just to start a conversation, but bring that up because I've had it happen to me in Conan. Right? We were like the guild that everybody loved. We helped people, and then it took one bad apple in my guild to go rogue, and then we became the toxicity of the server. It was insane. It was a learning lesson. It really was. I wasn't trying to stir the pot or anything. I was just bringing up something that had happened to me.
No,
Um,
I mean, if you can recall, I didn't get upset about that either. Like
No, 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 no. There
I
was only a
saw,
couple people that were like, "Hey, what the heck? They were like, "You're just trying to troll." And I'm like, "No, no, really, I'm not trying to troll. It's a real thing."
yeah, and that's really like my job to like control that situation. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes,
And
100%. I
that's
stream myself, so,
yeah, exactly. So for me, like when I saw that pop up, I even kind of took a step back and I was thinking, what's he gunning for here? And then like as
well,
we
you
were
have
talking, it hit me. I was like, no, I don't think he's trying to be like nefarious here. I think he's actually like trying to just to put out a point and get that across. And dude, challenges are great. I don't know why people don't accept the challenge of having nice discussions like that. That's why, dude, you're
I went
always
into my
welcome in
Discord.
to do this stuff. I love having people that come out with a different point of view. That's what saves people's lives, right?
Well, absolutely, absolutely, and it helps these developers develop these games into what we want them to be, right? That's the big thing. Conan, I hate to keep going back to Conan, but Conan was a really I played Conan pretty much for almost the last 10 years, like since it's a closed beta, and it was a really big learning experience for me because I had never played a game from closed beta and played it from when it was nothing to if you played Conan from closed beta to right and then you go play it right now, it is completely two different games. There was no horseback riding, there was no leveling with thralls, there was no sorcery. Hell, there wasn't even a highlands, icelands, or volcano or jungle in Conan when it first came out. That is a develop coming, and for me, that was a first time I had ever started a game where it wasn't fully developed and walked the path with them as they did it. Was it an absolute crap show? At times, yes. I
Especially
mean,
at the
fun.
beginning. Yeah.
Oh gosh, oh gosh. So like, I mean,
Yeah.
unplayable. You had to have reserved games that you could fall back on because you would get on and it would be like update, and you would go, oh Lord, and you would cross your fingers and hope that you would be able to play the game.
And that is what I'm trying to like impress on people about Dune. If the only way you can judge someone or a company or anything in general in life is by past results. And when I see Dune, I see Conan, but a better Conan. I see like a very long progression before it becomes this game that people just learn to love and becomes a fan favorite. So I'm
Well, I
always telling people that.
remember when they originally started. They were before they released it. They were calling this an MMO, and I think that they realized that it wasn't fully an MMO yet, and they
Yeah.
retracted on that. Remember, they backpedaled on
Yeah.
that real fast, right? And I think that's what they want to develop it into.
Mm.
And I think they're learning as they're going, which I mean that can be some issues, but I'm pretty sure all these developers are learning as they're going because this gaming world it's a completely different world compared to what we grew up with. We grew up with here's the game, wait for part 2. Find the
Exactly.
Easter eggs. We didn't have this is the DLC era. Hey, now it's hey, here's a game, it's a concept, it's an idea. What do you think of it? Oh, you really like it. Well, it's in early access now. Purchase it for $20 and we're going to keep adding on to it. And what you're saying is I agree 100%. They released this game with a great launch. It is not a fully complete game, but it's complete to mid game. And I I still don't really know how I feel about them releasing the story in chapters through DLC. I originally said, "Oh my gosh, that could be a very drastic thing for this game." I understand the hook of it is to keep the players coming back, but that right there should have proven that it's not a complete game. The storyline's not finished.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%, dude. 100%.
So Well, man, if you got, I don't think, I mean, really, I mean, I could touch on the fact that, the big problem with PvP players too sometimes is they don't stick around as long as PvE.
They don't.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm that guy. I won't, if it's the truth, I'm gonna say it. PvP players are going to disappear, just like we watched Dune's numbers drop when Arc Raiders came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the PvP players ran over there. And I mean, last time I checked, Dune was still at roughly between like 10 and 15,000 player base. That's not bad numbers, man.
Not bad at
That's
all.
really not bad numbers for a game. Uh, um, that's a little less than it's right at about 10% or something like that of what they generated off of launch. And I believe in the gaming world they say upon launch, roughly about 3 months after your game launches, you're roughly only going to hold about 10% of what you had in the game launch from the game launch. Don't hold me to that being like a true statement. I've heard rumors about that, but if you look into it, that's what supposedly what a development company would consider a successful launch. So like you got to put that in thought process too. So I don't know. I'm really ready for these mergers. I want to see what happens, how they when they merge the servers, how much are they going to implement and separate the PvP community from the PvE community? Is it going to happen on Chapter 4? I think that's the biggest question that I can end this conversation with.
Yet to see, yet to come.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be here. I will be here.
Yeah, me and you
I know
both.
I know you got a bunch of private people or more people that might want to chit chat. I think I touched anything. Unless you've got other things that you want to chit chat, I don't mind, man. It's Saturday morning for me.
No, not at all. Like, if there's more that you want to talk about a little bit later, just like hang out in Discord and I can bring you back in.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
I am going to drag Road Rage 67 in as he's been waiting in there patiently for a minute. Thanks, JP. Everybody, say thank you to JP. Great sitting here having a chat with you, man. I appreciate you coming in, sharing your opinions, and I agree with a lot of stuff you got to say, my man.
Yep, same here, man. I agree with a lot of things, man. But let's hope let's hope they're listening.
Let's hope.
You have a good night.
You too. Road Rage. There we go. Road Rage 67. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good. Jump to someone else right now. I'm taking care of that real quick.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. We'll bring you in after Mature Gamer then. Mature Gamer, a man who needs no introduction around my circles because we've been gaming together for a long time. Mature, what's up, dude? Hey, talk to the people. Introduce yourself. Tell them what you're all about.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Mature Gamer. I have been playing with Nerd since Path of Exile 2. I think we played everything from our no, we used to play a little bit of Conan together. You got introduced me to Dune. I saw you on a stream back in the day, became your biggest fan. I told you one day this is what you're gonna be doing. You didn't believe me, but now here we are. So I'm showing everybody that I was right. No, but yeah, I just been listening, seeing how the community is growing. I've seen how you've been growing. It's been kind of wild and cool to see you grow and everything. But yeah, hearing him talk about like PvP and such on it, yeah, I agree with a lot of the points that he says. The game is a good game. Dune is a very good game. I think it's just the change that they were. You could tell just with the dailies and such that the whole aspect of an MMO versus of what like Conan was. I think too many people. I think they sold it as a Conan-esque game, but then they wanted an MMO-esque game, and now that's a big huge difference on there, especially when you're a company that's never developed an actual MMO, and you're just kind of learning as you go. Uh, so there's a lot of flops that were made, a lot of bad decisions, good or bad. It's one of those things that we won't know until everything's been all fleshed out. But I think it has the blueprints to be an amazing game. It's
Yep.
whether or not the people have the patience
Well, let me ask you, because you were in Dune with us, and I'm not putting you on the spot here, and you know I wouldn't do that. But you were playing Dune religiously, doing a lot of it, and then you went to Star Citizen, which, in all fairness, also great game, right? So if your answer to this is it's just a great game, I want to play it, it's understandable. But what was it that drew you away from Dune Awakening? What was it? What was it that made you want to leave Dune? How about that? That's the best way to put it.
I've been playing. Okay, I used to play a lot of MMOs, especially back in the day. We're talking like WoW and everything on it, and I the whole daily and stuff on it is kind of like, man, I don't want to do this again. I understand the concept about it. I went, I played WoW and all those games religiously for a long time, and I wanted more of a sandbox instead of a I gotta grind dailies on a daily basis for rep and things like that. It's like, dude, I've done this already a million times over like 10 years. I'm like, I don't want to do this again. I and in this game, like playing Star Citizen, it's a sandbox. I don't have to. There are no dailies. They're never going to be dailies. It's kind of like, okay, what do you want to do? You know, and in the PvP side of here, you see how they're like, okay, how, because everything is integrated. Friendly fire is on. PvP can be done at any time, but they're like, okay, how do we keep, the balance of PvE and PvP players? So they have a system which is kind of like the lawless, PvP zone, you can call it. But what they did was it's like for crafting, the best resources, the best quality resource is in the PvP zone, kind of like the deep desert. That's where all the best stuff is, best quality. But you could still find high, like the highest quality in the other ones on it. It's just going to take you longer, a lot longer. So they're like, okay, those that don't mind PvP can spend half the time by going into the PvP zone and risk. It's like a risk and reward, or you could grind it out even longer, but you're safe. So now you have both. Now you have both, and there's people who don't like PvP who are going into the PvP zone because there's a reward, and then you have the PvP players going, oh, I could steal this. He could mine, and I could steal it. So now you have like, oh, okay, wait, hold on. Now there's something there. Now they're cooking with something on it, and you see kind of like people are like, you know what? I'm okay with that. Our PvP zone now is the golden ticket. So now you have groups forming of people who are in PvP. They're like, okay, hey, let's get 4, 5, 6 people together. Let's go to the PvP zone because we're going to try to mine the best stuff. And then the PvP players going, oh man, now we have teams going over there because now there's a risk and reward for both of them, on there. And I think that's the concept on it. It's like, what are you giving both of them? PvP players do have their PvP. Also, they get something out of it too because, well, if they get the best resources, we could take their best resources as well. So it's not just I get to shoot them. Now there's something that they're getting out of it as well. So it's always it's like if the PvE players are also start ramping up and they're getting the best weapons and stuff on it, it's going to make their lives a little harder as well. So it's all about the fine tuning when it comes to PvP. You both have to have an incentive, and it's got to be a good incentive for both sides. It cannot be one sided on there. Whereas, in the deep desert is, you know, okay. It's like, well, if you collected enough, of something, it's like, well, what's there to do? Even with the new, it's called the Rock Breaker. They did the same thing. They're like, okay, you have a one that you use in-game money to get like a permit to go in here and do this big event. Uh, it's yours. Now, those that don't want to grind for that, it's kind of like an absurd amount of money to get on it. There's a super cheap one, but it's open for everybody. And a lot of people enjoy that because it's a conflict of who can hold the laser, who can hold it, who can fire it first, who can mine it, and you see that PVE players are doing PvP there because it's fun. It's like, oh, because they're in that whole zone. There's some crafting, there's some mining, there's some PvP, there's some dogfighting outside. All this is happening while there's a laser being shot into an asteroid. So everybody's getting a little bit of everything that they want on there. So it's the balance, and it's the balance. You give the PVE players that don't want nothing to do with PvP kind of like the ability with still maybe a little bit of risk, but the ability for it. Wow, those that don't mind both or just want to do PvP, they also get the same as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's it in a nutshell, more or less. But yeah, I am kind of with Asher on this. Like, you can quantify the like private rock breaker locations without having the mission. I think I'm just glad that it was more or less you just didn't feel like taking that long grind out to play the game, and I think you're having fun with Star Citizen as well, right? So
Yeah, and I mean, I love look Dune. The community of Dune is one of the best communities I have ever experienced in gaming, and I've been gaming for a very long time. Me and you've been gaming for a long time. The Dune community is one of the most awesome communities in the entire planet. And to be honest, I even think the the Star Citizen wants to bring people from Dune Awakening into them. You could tell with the last starter ship they created. It looks like an Omnithopper. The reveal video, it's actually they recreated the first mission, the tutorial mission, where he's standing there in the desert. The big ships are coming by, right, and then he was going to shoot it with a rocket. They recreated that whole scene in there. You could tell it's blatantly obvious on there. They're gonna do a mission where it's a desert and you get to fight a huge worm that's like 12 stories high, with vehicles and stuff. I'm like, come on, hint, hint. I think they're trying to pull people from doing as well, and I think it'll be great having one of the best communities I have ever played with. Come to Star Citizen because it's just gonna make the game that much better. But it's wishful thinking. I know, but it's I thought it was cool when I saw that, and I know that they do getting a lot of inspiration from doing in some areas. So I think it's cool.
absolutely, dude. Anything else you want to throw out there on the table?
No, not much. I just I still thank everybody from the community. You guys have been great. You guys welcome me. You guys we're kind of like the best people to play with. You guys are so awesome. Nerdbird, I'm so happy to see you keep growing and stuff on it. I can't wait for you to become, one of the, get that little plaque on YouTube so you can put it behind, that's going to happen. I've been right about everything and that's going to happen. So can't wait for that. But yeah, you guys are great. You guys are awesome. I'm still watching your streams and so on. So, but yeah, it's been a fun experience. I'm just,
Once again, guys, this is Mature Gamer. He is streaming on Star Citizen. If you are interested in any kind of Star Citizen content, this is a good guy to start in on because he is getting up to date and doing as much as he can to like enlighten everybody with the public about what's going on with Star Citizen. It's definitely worth a watch. Mature, thank you for stopping in and chatting. I'll catch you later, my man. Thanks.
see ya, man.
Road Rage.
Hey,
Are you done with what you were doing or do you need more time?
I'm done. I'm just afraid of having some overlap in the audio.
Yeah, you got to turn me off on Twitch and or YouTube, whatever you're watching me on, and we talk through Discord.
Okay, maybe just come back to me again. I'm thinking this settled out, so I'm not really sound annoying.
Yeah, no problem. I can come back to you. So what we're looking at right now currently is that the biggest issue, once again, which is still looming over the horizon for us all with Dune Awakening, is literally the question of PvP/PvE. And where is this thing going to fall? Like, this is an identity crisis that I think is really holding back a lot of people from jumping into the game and playing it. I know anyone who asks me on a daily basis during streams, like, is it worth getting the game? I will always say yes. Hey, Nick, how's it going? I'll always tell them it's worth playing because you can literally get a solid 1,000 plus hours out of this game before you get into that minutia of like uncertainty of what the in-game PvP stuff actually is. And in all fairness, even the in-game grind for me, like being the Landsrad overland missions that do pop up, I don't really find that they're a bad thing. I just find them to get giga repetitive because they're so limited in scope. So even with that, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just don't necessarily feel like it's engaging enough to keep most people, you know, excited about jumping in there and doing them on a daily basis, right? Now, we have been seeing quite a few people comment in there. I know, Ashra, you were in here and you wanted to share. I apologize again for not pulling you up. Like, we used to have it where we would pull everybody in and have like a big chat, but then it started becoming this like huge party of people never wanting to leave and they just want to sit around and talk. So we kind of switched up the format to talking to one person, unless there is actually somebody who is like trying to like have an open discussion with the individual who I'm talking to. If you want to jump back in and feel free, because we're wide open. We have nobody on the list currently, with Road Rage basically trying to work out his sound issues. If you do want to jump in here, be more than welcome to jump in. Yeah, I mean, here we go. Everybody, welcome, if you would please, Ashra. Ashra, give a quick rundown about who you are, what you're about, and what you would like to talk to us about today in the community. Oh, and sorry, you probably didn't hear me because you turned off stream. Introduce yourself. Tell us about what you want to spread and talk about today on the open table.
I did hear you. Well, yeah, I'm Esra. I've been playing this game since beta as well as a lot of other games. Played Conan for like 7 years. I've been an Evil Online player since 2004. Also not an easy game. But the PvE versus PvP thing, you can't get rid of it. A real PvE player won't take the risk of PvP, no matter how you implement it. So, if you want PvE players to go into the deep desert, you need all the resources in an area where there's no PvP, or you have to give them a different zone to get those resources in. And just saying, yeah, let's put a medium spice field in a Haga Basin with less sand as a reward, it doesn't work. PvE players need as much spice as the PvP community does. Yeah.
No, so, I want to add to that with what you're saying, because I completely agree with you. Like dropping little flakes of something in the sand and saying, be satisfied with this unless you go out to the PvP area is, in my opinion, the wrong way to go about it as well. For like the majority of people who play the game. And even the way that they have it platformed currently with like lots of medium spice fields in the safe zone, at least on our server, we're starting to see people eat up the mediums in the safe zone in order to force people into the PvP zone. So even then, it's backfiring on the design that Funcom is trying to pursue to give people an opportunity to like actually get out there and get the spice, right?
Yeah, it's just bad game design.
Bad, exactly.
And the giving PvP... Also, the thing with PvE players is they want the same rewards that PvP players get. So if you introduce a tier 6, everybody wants it. It's not like, yeah, it's only for PvP. No, that it doesn't work that way. Players don't think that way. Again, I'm not a full-on PvE player. I do enjoy PvP. I just like it a bit more organized. And as I typed in chat a couple of times, I think most PvP at the moment in Dune revolves around solo people or duos of people picking off farmers that don't have any weapons on them. But yeah, it just doesn't work how they designed it and thought about it.
No, I don't necessarily believe they thought too deeply on it either. But I'm with it. Ferrex just made a point, and this is what I was actually literally going to throw this out there for you as well. The only way I've ever seen these crossover games with PvP, PvE work is that there's actually rewards that are PvP focused as well as PvE focused. And
Yes.
the most credible games that have done this in the past, they make it where if you're doing only PvE, like the gear you're getting is really beneficial for you to do PvP or PvE stuff, like farming more stuff, getting more resources back, yada, yada, yada. And PvP on the other side gives you more damage to players and it makes it more beneficial for you on that end. I really agree with Ferrex on this. I do think this is what the game needs. Like, what do you think could improve our situation overall?
I think that actually splitting up the servers or actually making a PvE deep desert will sort the most things. But
Yeah.
again, people might argue that's mainly for PvE players. No, it isn't, because PvE players make lousy targets if you want actual PvP. If you just want kills, yeah, then sure, that's going to ruin your gameplay. If you're up for actual PvP, then it won't, because the PvP players will still be there.
Yeah, 100%.
And I got one comment reply to what Mature Gamer was saying, and
Okay.
I already typed it out. We actually went into one of the private Rockbreaker instances yesterday with a PvP crew, because you can still find the locations. And you can go to them even without having the mission that makes them show up. It's just a lot harder.
Gotcha. So no matter what you're saying is you can't avoid it.
It's unavoidable, but it's you can mitigate the risk.
Gotcha. But what's your opinion on that? Do you like that or not like it? Just wondering.
And in this case, I like it because the entire Rockbreaker instance is made up for groups of people to actually play.
Yeah.
So you have to work together. It's not comparable to a ring spice field, for example, because that's just easy to do solo. You just need to pay attention, and if you don't run into anyone that's trying to gank you, you can pull it off. In this case, it's actually been designed for groups of 6 to 8 people, I think it was. So it's already different.
Gotcha. Yeah, dude. Thanks for dropping that in on us. Anything
worries.
else that you want to add, throw in there?
I like the game. I think it's a decent survival game, and I love the base building. But and I'm not saying I know how they can fix it, but they need to fix a bunch of things to keep players interested.
Definitely.
The knee-jerk fixes to, for example, the deep desert, they keep doing just to keep people happy, doesn't work.
No, fully agree. And at some point they are going to have to like make real solutions, not just like minor. Once again, they're dribbling in bits of content to us that, in my opinion, feels a tad bit empty. I mean, I'm sure some people might disagree with me, but for me at least, it just feels like empty. Here is something to keep you happy for a week or two. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but there's so many games out there that are doing it differently and keeping people engaged. And I would definitely want this game to be more engaging.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is, right? Because those overland testing stations are a great idea. The being able to increase the level is also nice, but then they cooked the instances so bad that if you go in with 3 or 4 people
Yeah.
on higher difficulties,
Yeah.
the trash is actually harder than the boss. It doesn't make sense.
This I've been saying this for weeks now. Like, they can fix just about anything, but they don't want to fix that. And like that there was a little report that came out about 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it's about 3 weeks ago, that they were saying like, we're watching you guys, like we're keeping an eye on what you're doing, and like 50, it was literally right around 50 to 40%, give or take, on group or solo running of these like testing stations. And I'm like, that's so misleading, because how many of those groups are just duos? Like, you can't say that people, okay, technically you could say it's a group thing, but like a duo for me is not a 4-man. And that's what I was wanting to see more in the game, right?
Yeah, no, agreed. But if you play those things on with 4 people without actually using the glitch that they now fixed, it's just folly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and the same with well, apparently it was not that hard for them to fix the repair bug, but please go fix the thing why people have to use it before you actually fix the bug.
Oh, as a comment back, I don't know if you saw it, but Mature said supposedly they are now going to be instancing what you were talking about.
Yeah. I know. I've been also following, and you can't really call it playing. It's an alpha. It's a test. You're supposed to, and that's a whole different argument about Star Citizen. But okay, let's not get into that. But I got a lot of time into that as well. If they get the instances working, then and those sites actually become instance, then yeah, I can get it. Then actually paying 1 million credits almost for, well, a UEC to get a private session in that makes sense. But right now you can actually disturb it as a PvP group when a PvE group actually bought one of these private instances.
Gotcha. Understood. All right. Well, Asher, thanks for coming in. If there's anything else you want to add as we're going through, do not be shy, my man. Jump back in here in the Steam pool and let me pull you in for more discussion. Like, I really appreciate you coming in here and sharing your ideas with us.
Always up for a good discussion.
100%, man. 100%. All right. I'm going to pull you down and we are going to take a short break. I apologize for this, but my son has called my wife and they had a discussion. So I just need to talk to my wife for about maybe 5 or 6 minutes and we will come back and resume. So let's just go on a quick little break. Let's call it 5 minutes or so. And we'll be back for the second half of the Deep Desert Roundtable discussion. Talks about how Dune can and needs to improve. I'll be back. Okay. Sorry about that brief interruption. Like I said, my son just joined the military. It's his first week, and he just called his mother. So, happy wife, happy life. Like, I had to sit down and talk to her and hear what she had to say about stuff. But we're back. We're getting into it. Hope I can pick up where I've left off mentally. I'm just like sitting here like running things, because now I've just heard all the news about my son in his first week, and like what he had to say to my wife. So I'm like rolling these things in my head. This is just extra shit that I have to like. Yeah. Well, you know, my son has a dual citizenship, but to keep dual citizenship in Korea, this isn't on topic, but just so you guys can understand, like, what's going on with me currently, like in my head and what I'm having to think about. He has dual citizenship, but to keep dual citizenship in Korea, he has to do 2 years of Korean military, 2.5 years. And with this in mind, if he doesn't do military, then he cannot work or live in Korea until the age of 35. Well, no matter what, he will always have to have a special visa, but they will not allow him to actually have a job, which means like until he's 35, he's basically living off of us, and then he's never getting a job because then it's too late. He has no experience or anything like that. So he has to do military service. We just don't have a place for him to like go back to the US on. And he told my wife, like, I don't need to be here. I could be living in the US, but like the reality is like we just don't have a place for him to go in the US. Like, I'm not going to send him to live with my mom or people like that. So yeah, just a little bit worried on the side. It's just the way it goes. Like, this is part of being a parent. And like I told her, he's lived a very easy, sheltered life. And I think the first week of basic training has like kicked in, and he's realizing this kind of sucks, and he's like, why am I here? I want to go back. I don't want to live in Korea anymore. I want to leave. But like, what we talked to him about this for months, and he just always said, I don't care. And you know, the basic teenage response to it. And yeah, I think reality has finally set in, and like, now he realizes that it sucks, but it's too late. The Korean government owns him for like 2.5 years. There's nothing we can do about it now. Tell him we will be roommates. We will play StarCraft, and I'll get him a job distributing facility. Yeah, we'll see. We'll work it out. He'll be okay, dude. I'm not too worried about it. All right, getting back onto topic though. Steven Binham, how's it going? Oh, Steven, I've seen you on the videos. How are you doing, man? Thanks for stopping in and sharing an idea. It says, we need a third faction. Part of the reward is going against previous Landsrad winners. Would call it a free house combine, not get rewards, but acquire rewards from houses, overturn house wins. Steven, I actually like this idea. This is why. Okay, like currently you can see in our like server, it's 11-0 Atreides. It's so unbalanced. Like, it's so unbalanced, right? And there's no, for like months I actively tried to recruit people to join our server to play on the Harkonnen side, because Funcom doesn't have a way to balance faction. The third faction thing, I've heard some people think that, oh yeah, dude, this would work. This would help us. This would save us. But I don't think it will. There has to be an outside influence that is literally regulating how many people can go into what house. That's going to piss people off, because I want to be Atreides or I want to be Harkonnen, but unless there is some way that Funcom literally implements a balance mechanism to make it where either us, we're like at a 10-to-1 ratio right now, unless we literally are getting 10 times more points we just don't win Landsrad. That's the way it goes. Yeah, I think so as well, Mature. Like, that's why I told my wife. Of course, she's a mother, so she's a little bit worried about him. But I was like, look, don't think too much about it. It's his first week. He's not used to being away from home, and he'll grow on him. Like, I was like, he's gonna have to, regardless, he has to toughen it out, and it's just the way that it goes. So I agree. So first of all, there is no real faction in this game. I've said this a million times. Faction means that there's actually two sides that are actually going against each other. This game is not that. This game is all versus all. As you know, whenever people come and start making trouble in Deep Desert for us, we don't care who it is, Atreides or Harkonnen. We all just like meet up and go up and fight the people. And like literally, that is not faction warfare. So Funcom keeps throwing the word faction out there, but it's only faction in name. There is actually like zero faction in this game. Yes, and it'd be Smuggler as their third. You think? I kind of have a feeling Smuggler will be the third faction, although I've heard other people throw out some theories that are kind of convincing as well, Nick. So I'm not sure. But make it, if you go Smuggler, you are not betraying Harkonnen or Atreides. Hey, yeah, like that kind of makes sense. Like smugglers are like on the fringe of things, right? But it's those damn dirty Atreides that will do the griefing on Cetus. Well, yeah. Anyways, moving on. We do have Road Rage sitting below, and let's see if he's ready to go yet. Road Rage, have you worked out sound issues, everything? Road Rage might have walked away. I'm just gonna keep him in here, and I'm sure he'll say something whenever it comes around to him getting in there and getting ready to speak. But we've already discussed new content. We've already discussed PvP balancing and fairness. And look, guys, at this point, there's just no... There's a lot of ideas, a lot of people complaining, a lot of people throwing out, ultimatums, a lot of people saying that it should be this or that. There is no true answer right now for PvP. It's just not going to be answered anytime soon. The best that we can be assured at this point is that Funcom is keeping in mind that they have two large player bases that they need to make sure to accommodate, and just like cross our fingers and hope that they are going to, do what they're supposed to do. Once again, remember, guys, if you have something that you would like to share, please jump into Discord in the stream pool section. I'll pull you up. We can let you explain what you gotta do. I think Road Rage is back. Road Rage, did you fix what you needed to get fixed?
Fixed and, shall we say, jerry-rigged.
Okay, that's good enough. Good enough. Road Rage, take a second, introduce yourself to the community, tell people what you're about and what you would like to discuss tonight.
I'm Road Rage. I actually go by Obsidian here, but Road Rage is my World of Tanks persona, and that's been the main game I played for years. So I'm that's why I picked up the Newburgh here, because I'm a noob at PvP, PvE, and even Dune was my first game. So I've actually really enjoyed it so far.
All right. So what is it that you wanted to jump in and talk about today?
The biggest one seems to be that's PvP versus PvE, and I do enjoy PvE. I'm not good enough to be PvP and get my ass handed to me every time if I do it. It's bad enough I get my ass handed me out in the deep if I go into any of the just getting my ass kicked out there. So I do enjoy the deep being a little split.
Okay, so what? Let me ask you this then: like, what games have you played previously that would be similar to Dune?
I'm trying to none really. I mean, I played a PvP one. it wasn't really PvP. It was you against everyone else. So it was just a one-person shooter. So that's been a long, long time ago.
Okay, so this is good. That's why
this was the
I
first
asked. Was with that in mind, that means you're kind of new to the reality of what Dune is offering. And how do you feel personally about how things are mixing together? Like storyline, how do you feel the flow of the game's going? How do you feel like the engagement? What do you feel about these things with Dune so far?
I mean, so far I like it. I haven't gotten deep enough yet to really have the end game. I'm still trying to get, as we discussed this one canister, I'm still trying to get through, and I just can't get through, so I can't progress to actually participate in the land ride again just yet. So I'm kind of stuck.
You're stuck on the lands. Which mission are you stuck on?
The deadly intelligence, locate the canister, and Stone Sentinel.
What server do you play on, by the way? Just wondering.
It's not. It doesn't show up on.
Are you
I'm
on Cetus with us?
Tabar.
Come to me and I'll help you get through that. How about that? Let me find you. I'm pretty sure you're on my friends list. Yeah, let me help you get through that, and we can get you into Landsrad, my man. I'm glad that you came on tonight and talked about it, so that we can do this. Just real quick, I want to show this thing from Razzle. I really like this picture that Razzle just sent me. Razzle says that in his view, this is what he would see. He pictures Battlegrounds would look like in Dune Awakening, and I have to say I like it. Look, I would not mind seeing, like, even if like the spice crawler in the background, even if that's just like mesh prop. So here it is. One game which I really think does a great job at incorporating PvEers into PvP is SWTOR, Star Wars the Old Republic, because like they kind of make it where you have to do it in order to get the best gear in the game, to progress, to get the better gear for doing raids and stuff. So they've done a really good job of doing it, and this is what I'm talking about, bringing life into like an instance. Like what you see here, the action, the energy is coming from the actual players, like going head to head, as we see here, Harkonnen and the Atreides soldiers like running at each other. You have ornithopters coming, you have tanks, you have everything going out in the field, but in order to make this type of battleground that Razzle's like envisioning here, I don't think you bring your own ornithopters or your own tanks. I really think that it's legitimately, there are a certain amount of tanks, a certain amount of ornithopters that the instance provides and sets it in there. And everybody starts in like a side chamber, and literally the shield goes down, everyone runs out, one person jumps into a tank, 4 people jump into ornithopters. Everyone else is like, son of a bitch, I couldn't get there fast enough. So you're running down with your weapons and you're starting to shoot at each other while ornithopters are doing battle in the air. Tanks are coming to try to like battle each other and push things off the, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, this is also SWTOR, and this is the way they have made it for not only incorporating PvEers into a PvP like format, but it also like literally brings like this life-like event instance to life. So like when you're looking at Razzle's picture, even though that spice thing, it could be spinning and it looks like there's like spice being farmed from it. It doesn't need it, right? Literally, it's just the background or a prop that you are fighting around and doing stuff, and that literally makes you feel like I'm living that spice farming instance. I'm living the battle here for the spice on that large spice field. And I don't know, I can't throw out like what the reward should be, stuff like that. This is up for the company to do because they're obviously getting paid to think through this stuff. But I mean, I agree. Like Razzle, this is a beautiful picture of what I would like to see happen as well. And it's not going to happen until the reality that here it is. I know you need to take damage on gear. I know you need to like, I know there needs to be rewards or whatnot, but to an extent, the only way you can get PV, like hardcore PvEers to get out there in PvP is to know that there is no reason to have gear fear, one, which is one of the hardest things to overcome. That's like 90% of the battle, in my opinion. And the last 10% is to know that they're not going to lose anything at all whenever they get out there and do it. So, yeah, I mean, I would definitely like to see something like this, an instanced PvP area. This would at least like appease a lot of the PvP-minded people and possibly free up a lot of the deep desert for more like personal grinding to in order to like afford to do this kind of work. So there needs to be, I'm not saying that the in-game deep desert necessarily is wrong, but for example, if you want to make it fair for everybody, you make instance battlegrounds like this, and you literally leave the deep desert open for people to farm shit tons of stuff to dump into these type of instance battles. Like, for example, you need to have a certain amount of resource slotted before you get in to build the tank or the ornithopters, yada, yada, yada. This type of stuff. Anyways, I like it, Razzle. Thank you for sending that in, dude. Really appreciate it. It looks great, man. I hope one day we can come to the reality of this picture inside of Dune, because, man, I would absolutely love to do that. I'm going to be jumping in here with Obsidian and trying to help him get through a quest really quick. Don't want him like being held back on anything.
Hey, nerd.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Obsidian. Hello? Hello? He might still be working through some issues. Once again, though, if you have something that you would like to share, talk to, explain out in about the roundtable, please remember you can jump into the stream pool section. I'll pull you up. We can talk about whatever you need to discuss, and maybe come to a consensus on what we believe will make this game a little bit better. Hey, VMAC, how's it going? By the way, VMAC, your bird is in my base. Sorry, I had to steal it from you. Steal one of Matsuda's tames and go get it. I'm gonna throw this one out here, Nico, since you're saying that, because I've also heard that you can get level 1 blueprints in the deep desert currently. So maybe they are trying to like bring stuff out there again. Thank you for joining. You will not be disappointed. So at this point, literally, once again, the hot pen topic for this entire thing is literally focused around PvP. It's hard. It can't be avoided. It's just the way that it is. But Arturo says, why should we do the dev's job be to freed PvPers to PvPers? Because they don't know how to make good organized PvP, keeps it separate. Wow, learn that and it works. Or like, wow, give a PvEer the opportunity to get double XP script and resources for declaring PvP status in the deep desert or anywhere in the fair game to PvPers, but not force PvEers to do PvP. Yeah, I mean, at this point, this has been Arturius. This has been a magical debate. And once again, this goes back to what JP and I were talking about earlier. One of the major complaints that we have, like in terms of community-based complaints, is that Funcom just refuses to be transparent about what they are doing. And, you know, one of the biggest like fixes for what we are dealing with now could possibly be that, no problem, JP. Thanks for coming in and sharing your ideas. One of the biggest issues that we are facing is that they just aren't explaining to us why we can't have pure PvP servers, PvE servers. Because in all fairness, that would more or less fix the vast majority of issues that we're dealing with. And until we see something like this come up, I don't know that there's any solution for anything in the game. Because faction doesn't exist. PvP is purely only ganking. Sure, they're going to implement stuff with Chapter 4, but we have to wait and see what it is, and they're not telling us what it is. So we don't have really much expectation to build on. We'll just have to wait and see. With age, I've started to like PvE for the chill and grill. Yeah, sure. Addict, like, me too. Not only that, but I've also come to realize that destroying everybody isn't always fun. And I've learned also throughout time that like helping people is way more enjoyable than sitting in a toxic Discord talking about how you're beating the crap out of people who aren't fighting back. So yeah, I think age has definitely worked on my opinion as well and brought me to where I'm at currently. We literally see the Freeman ganking farmers in the movies. Did you really expect it to be Farmville or Farmville? No base. I wasn't expecting it to be Farmville. No. But what I was expecting, and what the reality of the game has become are not exactly connected ideally. The problem with this game is it has farming simulator written all over it. And the fact that you are cutting off a lot of opportunities for people and individuals to do stuff in the game, it's very frustrating, I think, for individuals. So I don't necessarily think that it was supposed to be Farmville, but ganking farmers in that. All right, let's just put it this way. This is how I can explain it out to you. Because when the game was first sold to us, not like actually getting into it, when the idea was sold to us, we had the opinion that there was a vast deep desert, like vast, like they were talking mega servers of deep desert. And the way that they were making it sound was, I, as an individual, the deep desert was going to be so massive that I, as an individual, would be able to go to a corner of the deep desert and quite possibly never be seen. I could farm all day long out there and come back. If I'm unlucky, maybe one person or two people would fly overhead and come and try to gank me. And I was okay with that. Once again, I'm an advocate for PvP being in the game. The reality that kicked in very quickly was that the deep desert is actually tiny. It's not big. Like one or two people can patrol the entirety of the deep desert. So in doing this, there isn't really, this is where the ganker's argument doesn't work out well. If you have a bucket of water and you can reach in and grab a fish out of it, you're not really a fisherman. Now, if you can go to the ocean and see vast swaths of water where fish can swim around and get away from you, and you can't even find fish at times, and you're able to catch that fish, now you're a true fisherman. And I think that's the issue that we are kind of dealing with here, is the deep desert isn't big enough to hide groups of people out there to do things. It is literally too small. And to implement full on ganking, you're almost literally, look, dude, you are literally when you're giving the ganker argument in Dune currently with the Deep Desert, you are literally saying you have a 100% chance to find somebody farming the Deep Desert because it is so small. You can literally get in a scout ornithopter, take off from E5, hit every single large spice as well as large plastinium and stravinium noted island within a matter of 6 to 7 minutes, which means you literally can find a farmer 100% of the time. Now, if you're like a hardcore ganking PvP like enthusiast, that is like perfect. That is like right on dot because 100% of the time you are getting exactly what you want. However, those people are not the vast majority of the people playing this game. I can promise you, the vast majority of people playing this game do not want that to happen to them. So the Deep Desert's just too small. If the Deep Desert was as massive as Eve, where you had to like literally jump system to system, scan, jump the next system, scan, jump the next system, scan, and then maybe 27 systems into nullsec, you scan and you ping someone in a Rorqual, and you go jump on it to knock it out and get your kill. That's a totally different story, right? Yeah, but that's not the case, though. You have to understand, that's why they're merging stuff together. Pretty soon, we're talking about each server having 400 to 800 people. Now we're talking about nowhere to hide. The entire Deep Desert is going to be literally under surveillance 24/7. So, yeah, Freeman used to, in the movies, go out and like hijack stuff, but dude, you're talking about, there's also the stuff that you don't see, which is the spicers out there like farming probably 70 to 60% of the time without Freeman going out there and ganking them, right? You just don't see that in the story because there's no action in it. But I mean, for example, the first and only true scene that I can think of, not only in the book, but also in the movie where people are spicing, literally is not getting ganked. Remember, they're saving people from the worm because the carrier ornithopter can't get there in time to save them, right? So, like, at the end of the day, it's too small. It's too small for ganking PvP to like actually exist on a scale that would make everyone happy. Like, once again, if we're talking EVE Online scale, dude, I played EVE for years and years, and I did Rorqual mining. I got jumped, I lost Rorquals, but I also was able to like hide myself in the corner of systems sometimes and not see anyone for like a week. And in that case, I was making enough off my mining on the edges of these little areas, mining ice or whatnot, that it didn't matter if I lost my Rorqual. But in this case, it does matter because every single day, within 5 minutes, any ganker can come in and find every single spot on the map within seconds. Done. We're not really playing a broad ganker game. We're playing a game that is meant for PvEers and PvPers to exist together. Currently, the Deep Desert is not that. Well, okay, I take it back. It is, because they've literally cut half of it away and given it to PvEers and made it where you have to go out there with large numbers of people to keep the small, flies off of the people to like jump in there and do things. But I mean, don't get me wrong. It is a PvP zone, but a very unthought out PvP zone. You can't say it's not made for PvE because you literally farm out there. To say that the Deep Desert isn't a PvE zone is like saying a club sandwich doesn't have a tomato in it. Like, I mean, it's like literally the vast majority of the Deep Desert is PvE. It's literally you going and farming crap. It's just now you have to worry about being ganked. I think it's entirely made for PvE. It's just too small for the type of PvP that takes place out there. Yeah, I want to see player tags and then put bounty on them since we already have. All right, Death Gold, thank you for stopping in, first of all, and leaving a comment. So this is something that Funcom, from the very, very beginning, said they are never going to do, all right? Funcom literally has told us that, I'm sorry, Obsidian, we'll jump out on this like mission here in a minute. I promise I'll go. Actually, I think I have an assault. You can fly my assault and fly me to where we need to go. No, my assault is on another freaking server. Okay. Now I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, tags. So this is the problem that we're having right now, right? There's like 3 or 4 people that you have to deal with on a daily basis that are ganking people. We're trying to keep those people safe so that they can farm out in the deep desert by hunting those PvPers. The problem is you don't know who they are, what they're doing. You don't know if they're farming. You don't know if they're hunting. We don't know what's going on. So if you're not in constant contact with us, we have to like shoot a missile up your ass. Like if we ask who you are and you don't answer us, we have to shoot missiles at you. We're not trying to destroy you. We're just trying to get you to like go, whoa, dude, somebody's trying to attack me. And then when you speak inside of in chat, we realize, okay, this isn't the people that we're looking for. We'll say, hey, look, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But because the limitations that Funcom has put on this game in terms of identifiability of players out in the deep desert, this is the extremes that we have to take. Either you have to be vocal with us or we have to force you to be vocal with us so that we know you're not one of the bad guys. It sucks. I would love to see name tags. I would love to see even just faction tags, but Funcom says they're never going to do it. So we can't, it's just something that is like, it is non-disputable. They say never going to happen. Suck it. Sorry, boys. You're going to have to live with it. And you wanted to fill a crawler because you assumed no one would be there during your lunch break. You both tied. Oh, you must be talking to someone else above. Wearing my glasses half full hat. Good. I hope they figure it out. Over 3,000 hours in this. Love the game. Oh, actually, at yours, 100%. Like, look, dude, this is it. Like, people see me streaming other games that I play. Yeah. There's only so much of one game you can actually take. And everyone else does it. I'm doing it as well. Like, I want to experience other games as well. And the first reaction I get from people is, oh my God, you're not going to play Dune anymore. You quit Dune. It's like, oh, dude, people just don't understand the degree that I actually love this game. There's just, I'm on and off with what is it that I want to spend my time doing in the game. It's a great game. I really am in it for the long shot, and I'm really hoping Funcom pulls this off and makes it a lot better. 100%. Keo, what's up? Keo75. But if you go into PvP part of the deep desert, you have to expect that you are fair game, IMO, they don't know you can't defend, you could have been tooled up, PvPer. Harsh as it sounds, you made the choice to take the risk. I agree, 100%. Look, no one in here is debating that deep desert is where PvP happens. It does. Like, there's nothing about it. But the number one driving issue that we've been facing since the beginning of this game is the lack of conversion from mid and early game into just a slap you in the face with a frying pan PvP action in the deep desert, which you have to understand. Look, I get it, it's PvP, but at some point you can't be centered on the fact that it's PvP and people need to die. You have to be centered more on the broad spectrum of the game, and you have to say, what is it that is keeping this game alive? Well, what I would have to ask any of you guys who are like, hey dude, if you go in the deep desert, you deserve to die unless you protect yourself. Let me ask you, What is the most important thing to keep a game alive? Anyone can answer it. I'll just sit back and keep talking until somebody does answer it. Or I'll just tell you straight up the number one thing, because there is a delay and I would be sitting here forever to do it. Right? Bikini Cosmetics. That's right, Astrid. Thank you. Exactly. Bikini Cosmetics for the win. You've just won a free copy of Dune Awakening. Good job, Astrid. So, but no, okay, there's reality. There's reality behind what is being joked about here. And that is player base is what keeps a game alive. You can say progression, you can say cosmetics. None of this stuff matters if you don't have people playing the game. So whenever, look, it's 101. Whenever I teach here at the university writing, the first step that I try to go in through on a 7-step process of teaching students how to understand how to write properly is always audience for the subject. The single most important thing that anybody who is creating a game, who is creating writing, who is creating a movie, who's creating smartphones, anything, the single most important thing to consider is your audience. Who is it that's playing and who is going to make us the most money? Look, I also do side work at Samsung. I've worked with some of the highest executives. Samsung itself spends hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars every year doing research on what general people want in their smartphones. Then they take that data back, they create the smartphone, and then it sells. They make a shit ton of money. They know they did the right research. The same thing is relevant here for gaming community. If you do not sit there and say, you can't just say, this is my vision. Your vision compared to what 8.5 billion people's visions are of what reality is not going to measure up. You literally have to look at your audience and say, where is it that my game should be sitting? How should I be directing my game? What direction? So that it encapsulates the vast majority of the audience that we are gunning to get in. Now, some games, people will say, we are gunning for PvP. In that case, who cares what PvEers think, right? Who gives a shit? My audience is straight PvP. I'm going to build a game for those guys to beat the crap out of each other. That is where my industry is taking me. Other people go the opposite way. The problem with Funcom is they have jumped into a broad ship and they've said, we want everybody to buy our game and play it because we want to make maximum amount of return, right? The problem is they built half the, and you know this is the truth because this is how they built the game. They built the front end of the game straight directly for PvEers. And they were like, if you're into PvE, you're gonna love Dune Awakening. And then they created a deep desert with no limits, freaking completely unadulterated, anything goes PvP excitement. And so what they did was they said, we're trying to get all players to come play Dune, but that's an impossibility because at a certain point you hit a wall, and the only people who go past that filter are individuals who are wanting to do PvP. Like I said, dude, to this day, and I know it's not a completely accurate representation, but you can still go into the Steam achievements and you can see that less than 45% of the community who has started this game has ever stepped into the deep desert, even now. That the reason why I started getting people to view my content on YouTube is 100% because when I saw those stats, I said, I need to educate people so that they understand that the deep desert isn't that scary of a place. And there are places for them to thrive and survive in. And that's primarily what I focused on. Once again, know your audience. And that's what's gotten me where I am now with the streaming with my YouTube. Literally, the first thing I thought about was, look at that huge number of people, right, that have never stepped into the deep desert. That is a massive number of people that I can try to appeal to, make the content, and help them understand that there is a place for them in the deep desert. And it's worked. All that Funcom has to do is more or less the exact same thing. They can't have everything, dude. You can't have both. You can't have everything and still succeed. So what we're trying to say here is, when it comes to that deep desert, you really, really, really have to consider, is having full-on, no rules, ganking PvP in such a small area worth losing the vast majority of our gaming population? Or should I do something that encapsulates and allows everyone to get out there and do stuff? That's what they did. Dude, week 3, they cut the deep desert in half to give people a chance to get out there. They started popping medium spice fields so people didn't have to go do large spice fields. Look, you can tell they know they screwed up by trying to have best of both worlds whenever you literally took away half of the PvP assigned space. And now, we're still trying to recover from all of this. You mentioned SWTOR before. The only other thing that is keeping it alive is the store. Funcom could make so much money selling transmogs, swatches, etc. I agree, Arturus. I know we are sure there is a restriction put on them, but I am not talking about Santa outfits and bikinis. Exactly. Lore proper stuff for store, I would be first in line, 100%. I think the vast majority of us would be, and I think they are like walking down that line. Like they are introducing swashes and whatever else, like on a daily basis. Well, monthly basis, I guess. I don't know. They literally made it so much better for PvE players, not really for Yeah, but that's it, Harky. That's it. You have to understand, when they launched this game, it was almost as if they didn't look at who was actually going to be playing the game beforehand. And what they learned by week 3 was that the numbers didn't lie. The vast majority of people were like, I ain't going to the deep desert. I don't want to die to PvP. And they started realizing, holy shit, like the whole end game that we've created isn't getting filled with populations because people don't want to do it. So they cut it in half. They nerfed ornithopters with rocket launchers. They've done everything that they could to make it easy for people to actually jump out there in the deep desert again. But, I mean, they did it a little bit too late. Because when you go from over 100,000, 200,000 player base down to 3,000 player base in a matter of like 2.5 months, once again, this could have been mitigated if they thought more definitely about what they were doing. Unfortunately, those who never set foot in the deep desert have also left the game never to return. Yeah, but I think a lot of them do come back, Ferrix, whether you know it or not. Excuse me. I think a lot of people do eventually like step back in to the game. I get them all the time in the stream. People all the time in the stream will come in and be like, even tonight, like right at the very beginning of the stream, we had someone like, hey, what's the state of the game? What's going on? And, the analysis, whoever replied to him was like, the game's cooked. It sucks now. And they're like, oh, I'm glad that I quit. But, if I can get a hold of those people, I might be able to tell them a different story, right? So there are people who still like own the game. Their interest is still peaking. It's just a matter of getting the right message out to them, right? Look, it's not the funnest of games right now, but I mean, I still think that it's worth giving it a shot and playing. A full black or white swash will go. Okay, Ashram, you really want those swatches, don't you? I don't blame you, dude. I would like some new swatches. I want swatches for my sandcrawler. I'm waiting for all that stuff to pop out. What have I missed over here? Fun, progression, back to back. No players in this game are pure PvP. It's impossible to get PvP without grinding your face off. 99.9%. I'll agree with you. There are some exceptions. I know people who never touch a tool. All they do is come out and PvP, because the people that they play with literally hand them stuff to come out and PvP for them. Many people quit around the aluminum stage 2 when they realized how heavy the grind will be to progress. Yeah, I think so as well. Space. I agree. I think Dune is a very front end grind heavy game. Definitely a very front end grindy game. I'll tell you that. So I think a lot of people did quit around that time. I mean, that's a dude. Once you've worked through Still and you've built your first ornithopter, dude, there's still like over half the community who haven't built their own ornithopter. So yeah, I think a lot of people quit before that. I was doing large already, but very slowly ineffectively until I watched nerds YouTube videos. Now I do them faster and get out more. Well, thanks, Arturus. I'm glad that my videos can help you. There's nothing I like better to know that the content I'm putting out is helping people. I appreciate that. And thanks for that. Thanks for that free plug, man. I appreciate it. Remember, come and join me on YouTube so you can see all of my wonderful videos, or the videos you don't like. I make those too, it seems. If they weren't going to do that, then at least dual progression pass. I don't know. I'm lost on that one. I think I've missed talking, or I've kind of lost myself in the conversation, Felix. And a Crimson Desert one at that. I feel called out now, laughing out loud. What are you talking about, Nico? What are you talking about? Who's calling you out? Look, Nico and the Florida men are a perfect example of how Funcom hasn't dedicated enough time to the end game. Like, literally, they have built a ramp that you can jump over a huge gap in the deep desert and go around in circles doing it. This is, whenever you're doing stuff like that, you know that there's not enough content in the game to keep people happy. Oh, I see. Paid to look. I mean, look. The reason I'm saying that is I have friends who often send me messages about, hey, how active is the deep desert? Because all they do is PvP. And I literally, with those people, I know they're so effective that if it ever comes down to like all out warfare in the deep desert, where like all the people who are with us and like trying to survive like are just getting beat up and can't do anything, I won't mind tossing free stuff to a group of about 20 people that I know to come in and fight for us, and just tell them to go have fun, and I'll literally sponsor everything they want to do. Like that is just the way that it would be. Obsidian, don't leave. I need to go help Obsidian do this. Obsidian, come on. Where are we going? Obsidian, in game chat, do me a favor, or in party chat, tell me where we need to go. Hey Schaefer's, what's going on? So Harky, you're against separating them, right? Just remember joining those PvE servers where they can grief you without an option to fight back. Yeah, all right, so I've lived that life as well. I live in Asia. So when we played Conan when it was launching, we had to play in China, and Chinese people would literally block off every single point of interest. And if you couldn't speak Chinese, they would be like, no entry. no you joining. Oh, okay, cool. Wait, we can't go. I made a mistake. We can't go to the overland map in an assault. So you just have to tell me where we need to go, and I'll fly with you and try to help you with it. Yes, exactly. All those people who just take over everything in PvE, there's nothing you can do to stop them. Nothing. Well, luckily with this game, though, there is a mechanic that does stop them. And that is that the deep desert resets every week. So, and you have limited build ability, right? So there's only so much that they can block off. And if there is no PvP, they're not really going to be able to prevent you. Like, they can be pricks and drop thumpers or whatnot out there and try to get the worm and block you from getting into your stuff. But, you know, I don't think that that's happening so often. In fact, the people that I believe that are doing that kind of nefarious crap are actually gankers who are getting frustrated because they're not able to gank people anymore. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the boat for separate servers. I think that would have, and this is just purely like what I think. Like, it could be that I'm wrong. Who knows? But I think the game population would have been a hell of a lot more healthy if we had those servers separated. They basically screwed both parts by taking quick actions based on the loudest comments online. It's like devs can't form any opinions on their own. Listening to feedback is one thing, but panicking and making blind changes is just horrible. This game actually had good traction at the start with big streamers, both perspectives, but Funcom managed to piss both communities off somehow. Yeah, and they really went ham on big streamers too, let me tell you. I got excluded. They didn't like me. I don't have enough viewership to get anybody to notice me, so I know all about the big streamers at the beginning. But yeah, so look, it's like I said, dude, they didn't really, I don't believe they took a good look at their audience. I think they just like threw a broad net out there and made a game that they thought was going to appease everybody, and in turn just pissed everybody off. No, Keneptong, you're not wrong at all. Once again, I like it myself. When I'm talking about, for example, split servers, I'm not talking about what I want out of the game. In this case, I'm actually like saying, for the broader picture, for like the vast majority of the possible and current population, I think it would have been better if they would have split them. But I also don't mind PvP in the deep desert. That's all that we have to do right now. So, all right, are we going in here, Obsidian? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can. Are we going in here? What?
Yeah, well, this is why I thought the canister was that deep inside here is where I thought it was at.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. I can't remember this quest. Let's go.
I don't see it on my map anywhere when it shows up.
I don't know. I can't remember this quest. So I did all this stuff so long ago. I don't know. Let's just go kill stuff.
In here, but I still find it.
Is that it, Alma? And the Donkey Police Squad would not happen. That's right, dude. The Donkey Police Squad would be a non-existing entity if we didn't have PvP like prevalently. Jesus, can I not speak tonight? Prevalently occurring out there in the deep desert. I could not agree more. I mean, some of our favorite times in Discord have been the Donkey Police Squad out there.
Someone here. Someone's here. I spy.
How does this guy get a shield on so fast? There we go. But overall, like, look. Target Alma. Leave Alma out of this. Overall though, like, I'm hoping that Funcom finds a way to balance it for all sides. In all fairness, I can only envision that being a possibility if they literally make instanced PvP and allow people to access deep desert stuff, right, equally of sorts. Now I'm also not against the whole hey, PvP flag for more resources. I'm not against that, dude. That's what was that? That was New World. Like, New World had that implemented, and I really liked New World, where, you know, you could get more resources if you literally just PvP'd yourself. And for the most part, you could be out there for days without being messed with, but every so often somebody would catch you and they would get you. I thought that was a great strategy. However, that removes ganking ability, and I don't know, at this point you're gonna have to like take a closer look at the numbers and say what's the percentage of the population that enjoys ganking. I don't know how easy it would be to quantify that, but that's what you have to kind of look at. You have to say, how many people will we lose if we take away like ganking? And that's where you make your first assessment. I don't know. It could be huge, it could be small, who knows? Parasitic, WoW has war mode, different rewards. Yeah, exactly, right? But there's also like the question of, is Funcom going to put in the energy to give out blueprints that are separate from the Funcom doesn't seem to want to like stryrate stuff. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to Funcom, it's like these are your blueprints. If you start doing that, you have to start asking for other things. Do you consider only the worm and sandstorm to be risky enough to fill up 4 crawlers on a large spice field? Well, here right now, this is like unless you're playing on Harmony or Nova or one of the big servers, this isn't even a discussion that the vast majority of people can have. Because until you get on a server with 400 to 600 people, you don't know exactly what supply and demand means, if that can ring through for everyone there. Like, when you have 200 people in the deep desert fighting for spice and plastinium components, this is a totally different thing than being on a server with 40 people with only like 12 of them out in the deep desert. Right? So this whole reality of like the whole perspective, dude, trust me on this. The whole perspective of what we currently have on the game is going to rapidly change, especially in this stream, whenever mergers do finally happen and we start getting large numbers of people. Battles for the whole Obsidian, are we done here? Do we need to go somewhere else? For the overland testing stations, I just think they don't feel like going back and fixing the ramp up that multiple players have on influencing how the difficulty gets like increased in those. But they should, because I'm still kind of pissed. Like 3 weeks ago, they released that whole report on like 40 to 50% of every single testing station was both solo and group. And I was like, no. I can believe. No, Obsidian, I've done all this. You're not helping. I'm helping you. So once you get the quest item, we go to the next place. Overall, like literally, you got to say, where was I at with this? I don't know. I lost. Oh, yeah. When I looked at that report, I was like, dude, that is not accurate. You can't say group and solo. You could have said, it would have been more accurate to say like solo, duo, trio, quad. And those numbers would have been very interesting. Because I'll guarantee the vast, probably it would be no more than like 3 to 5% doing stuff quad. And 5% is being excessively generous, right? 3-man's probably like 9 to 11, 9 to 12%. The vast majority of the testing stations were solo or duo, guaranteed. Litany against fear. I think people just need to use the overpowered AoE spells that have been forgotten because they didn't fit the old stations. Yeah, maybe. You never know. I'm not sure if it's been rebalanced or not. Spider, Tengu, and I went to the electric station together, and it was manageable at 12. Maybe it has been. Maybe I should start getting in there with big groups and seeing what it's like. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Be space, like, maybe that's the answer. Maybe we need to start thinking in terms of AoE. You never know. And there is that one too, Astrum. Whenever they were glitching solos as a group, it's not getting counted. I agree. The question is if this is the correct spot. I put this out to the group, I guess. I don't know, dude. I don't remember this quest. If you're not getting an update, I don't know what to say to you. On our private servers, have rules that spice and metal farming is off limits to PvP. PvP is encouraged in other areas. Yeah, that's what we try to do as well, Jay, but there's always someone who doesn't want to play the game. You always have to deal with people who don't want to play the game. And I don't know what server you're on, but the bigger that server gets, the less people that want to play that game. So yeah, I mean that's more or less what we do. We do the same, but here's the thing. The people who do the hunting on our servers lived like rent-free for about 3 months and literally have endless resources to do whatever they want. And so now it doesn't matter. They just jump out and they hunt farmer. That's it. So there's no getting them off. Yeah, you can hunt them, but all they do is run away. And on occasion, when they do fight, they lose ornithopters. I don't think you can try to share it with me.
I don't know there, Bird.
Well, try to share it with me. Dude, I'm having to balance 2 chat rooms, a game, and like keep the conversation flowing, dude. I can't be Googling shit. People have to Google for me. I don't mind killing and helping people get through shit, but I can't be doing the Googling too. What's it say, Obsidian? Where are we at on this? Nick seems to believe that
I don't know. I can't get any further, and it really sucks.
what does the quest say in general? What does it say?
Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
We gotta get out of here.
Hide.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you learn from playing a game like Eve 2, though. Yeah, chat is my Google at this point. Please tell me. We have to work this out, Obsidian. I don't know what's going on with this quest, but I'll help you like eat through shit. I just don't know what to do.
Yeah, give me a second. Let's get back to your base. Let's talk.
Well, let's just hop into the overland and search it out. Or maybe you need to be able to read the quest. I don't know. I suggest doing it at a very low level. The number of ads is the same. Then you can plan out the skills you can use a group. Yeah, but nobody wants to do stuff at low levels because people just want to look. There's two issues that happen with the overland testing stations. One, the larger the group, the more NPCs you have to fight off. The higher the level, the more difficult those NPCs become to kill. And they have mechanics which can wreck, like stun you big time and get you killed. That's the one issue. The second issue is the loot at the end is no better than the loot if you ran it solo. And yeah, I can understand why it shouldn't be, but because the difficulty level is that much more, it should be. I don't know. I've been asking him what the quest name was, but he hasn't told me yet.
Give me a second. I'll give it to you.
Mr. Tech Gadget, how's it going? Welcome. Good morning. I'm glad you were able to wake up for the stream. Awesome, dude. Long time in the coming. I'm glad you finally made it. How is Cetus treating you? We're starting to go down, actually. Like, it's our fault. It's the birdhouse's fault that our server is like going down because we're not logging in enough to do stuff. I think, sadly enough. Sad days. But I am happy that you're able to make it in. People go into the stations at level 30 and die, or 20 and die because they don't know how to deal with more ads. The solution, I think, is to go at a level where it's safe and you can theory craft a group approach. Yeah, for sure, but I think the way that Funcom has stuff laid out, people are a little bit impatient and want to get into that kind of fun content too, because that's where the good stuff is. I agree with you. Like, there should be like some progression that you need to follow in order to not die in there. The overland station scaling is broken. Thank you, George Revere. I mean, like, Beze piece is not wrong, but literally group scaling is not fun, dude. Like, I don't think that it should be that punishing to do a 4-man. Hey, what's up, Sazi? How's it going? Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't believe it should be that punishing to get in there and do a 4-man dungeon. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Scaling, at first it made sense. Like, oh, look, there's 4 of us, so they're 4 times the amount of ads. But then you get into this whole, like, if you're doing a level 12 or higher or whatever it would be, you're also having to stab each NPC 3 or 4 times to kill it. And now there's like 40 of them bastards on you. I don't know. You moved up to spice crawler. Dude, have you been out spice crawling? Do not go out there and spice crawl alone unless it's at the right time. And if you ever need... Maybe. I don't know. Sazi's the man. So you probably... Besse Peace. If you don't know him, the guy who just walked in here... And once again, guys, if you don't know Sazi, you should go watch him. I love this guy to death. He does great work in the community, works out, not only builds, he also works through people and getting into the testing stations and helping people understand that it is possible to do these type of things. If there's anyone you could talk about with your AoE spell idea, Sazi would probably be the best guy to be chatting it up with because he has the patience to get in there and do that stuff. Yeah, but I mean, for example, when you get into the dark dungeon with 4 people in the second room, even the first room, 4 people at like level 12, you're telling me the best way to handle this is AoE spells? It's still way too nasty, in my opinion, for what you're going to get at the end. At least they need to make, at least they need to make the in-game rewards a little more appealing if you are doing 4-mans. And then it's all fair game. Like, dude, if you're spending an hour with a 4-man to do a 10-minute overland testing station, you should be getting more shit for what energy you're putting into it. People have to practice and get better at the grenade pool 1 or 2 uses, ancient way, then easy. Yeah, I mean, you got these little fundamentals you can pull out with the ancient way and stuff, but I mean, dude, why is it you have to do an ancient way? Why these things all have mechanics, dude? Like, those aren't really using you. Yeah, those aren't even really using your skills, bro. It's like you literally you can use your skills and then you hover around with a hover belt and you like shoot an ancient way, a weapon meant to take down a freaking spaceship. Like, what about the other 99% of the weaponry out there? You get what you kind of get what I'm pushing out. You just don't want to multitask. Right, Arky, right. Nah, I'm with you. It's like, hey, dude, go run a dungeon and take a fucking nuclear missile with you. That's the easiest way to finish the shit off. Use your skills and launch a fucking nuke on the boss, brother. Oh, my jaw hurts after that one. Double recipe loot from the labs is almost the only way to progress fast enough to outpace gear breakage. You think? I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe. Like, when you get up to the higher stuff, if you're not good at those, you start losing gear for sure. Yeah, it is a punishing feat for sure. I agree with you, Nick. I love that it enables some spells that have been forgotten. So sick of the same 4 spells on everyone. Yeah, but I mean, some people have trouble playing different styles as well. So you know how it goes. Glad someone is enjoying this mess. My 25 strong guild and I are staying away from stations until they are worth it. Yeah, which is sad because literally, George Rivera, that's like half the end game. I just like to theory craft and play as a team. Oh yeah, no, dude, Besse Peace. There is nobody jumping on you for what you're talking about. I'm just joking with Harky because Harky knows I'm just playing. But no, dude, no. Don't get me wrong. Like, nobody is like trying to say you're wrong about any of this stuff. What I'm trying to tell you to do is talk to a person like Sazi, who actually puts energy into that arena. Not saying that I don't think about builds, but like at this point, I don't even try to go into high-level testing stations. They just get too frustrating at some point. For the outcome and the diversity of what you're actually doing, just don't really feel the desire to get in there and do it. Yeah, you know, I hear you, George. With the solo glitch thing, I mean, once again, I wouldn't know. I have never done an exploit or a glitch ever in this game. Like, when people are getting banned, I go into Discord and people, you can tell some people get nervous about they might be using the repair glitch or they might be using this or that glitch. You can like literally tell that people are doing it and they're getting worried about getting the ban hammer. Like, dude, I go home and sleep like a baby. I've never done any glitches, dude. No exploits, no glitches. Like, straight up, not even worried about it. So I don't know actually how great the solo glitch was. All I know is I'm sad that there are people on our server that were able to solo glitch level 5 gear, and we're now having to deal with them. That's all I know. But then I started looking at what you actually can do if 4 people coordinate their skills and gear. Yeah, maybe so. SA piece, maybe so. I use melee most of the time in stations, just no upgrades for a bit getting boring. Yeah, but look, dude, like I said, it is getting boring at this point, but like, don't hate the game. If you're getting bored, set it aside for a little bit, go play something else. When chapter 4 comes out, like, look at this, dude. Funcom has already self-admittedly stated that this is what their current progression in the development of the game should be. They've literally said, look, if you're getting bored of the game, don't be mad. Instead, go play something else, and when we release chapter 4, there'll be more content for you to do. So, like, yeah. Till I figure out this daily intelligence glitch. Like, dude, it's not glitched. You're just not doing it right. I can promise you that. So if I wasn't streaming right now, I could get you in Discord and I could look at your screen and we could try to figure this out. But I'm in the middle of a stream. So like all I can do right now for you, Obsidian, if you point me in the right direction, I can go kill everything for you and get you through this stuff. But yeah, at this point, if you can't like explain to me what you need me to do for you, that's like the deepest I can get for you, unfortunately. But like when I'm not streaming, find me in Discord. And then you can stream the screen. We can look at it together and we can try to work out these issues. No, I don't think anyone thinks you can't. I don't think anyone doubts that you're not able to like go through those stations, George Rivera. But I'm also with you. Like at some point, a 4-man group is just not worth. I just don't feel like it's worth going in and doing high-level dungeons. I don't think it's worth it. But that's me. That's my opinion. I'm sure there's people that would say, like, let's frickin' launch the frickin' game and go into 4-man and spend 2 hours doing a level 20. I'm sure there's heaps of people that are down for that. I just personally am not. What? Raven, I moved him down to you guys, and Obsidian can now like talk to you, so it'll be easier than him like typing it in. So he's in Discord with you guys currently. Like if you guys can work it out, I'll be more than happy to help him. Or if you guys are in game, you know, do as you please, do what you must. So overall, found this one online for the quest you asked about online. You should go to Simone von Koenig and she'll give you a contract that'll send you to Sentinel Stone. I think the Great M has your answer right there. Oy, ay, ay. So, if there is no one else who's really interested in jumping in here into the round table, sharing or spreading any more information or ideas for the future of the game, we'll start trying to wind this down as people are starting to come on to start streaming other things like that. I've pretty much covered a broad array of crap tonight, starting off with like the overall stability with the bug fixes. Look, dude, just to like point this out to you guys, because I don't want to end it on people getting frustrated with like the overland stations and stuff like that. Look, in many ways, when I'm saying stability, I'm not talking about like the server stability. I'm talking about the stability of the current population and the people that are actually playing the game currently. And look, Funcom is taking care of issues. They're taking care of business. This is a very, very important thing. It's a win for a community whenever you start seeing exploiters getting banned. Now, I know people like try to put this like ethical debate on the table all the time, saying, "Well, an exploit is an exploit." So if you're doing the exploit that like fixes your gear, you should also be banned. I don't know. All that I can tell you is Funcom's drawn a line in the sand, and they said anybody doing exploits that are going to be hurting people or hurting the community as a whole, get the ban hammer. And they've started doing it. This is a positive move forward. As for the longest time, I didn't think Funcom was going to do anything to anyone. They were just letting everybody get away with shit. So, yeah, this is great. We're starting to see, like, currently, I'm not so upset about the fact that PvP is the way it is. Because, look, at this point, you can get away from the vast majority of PvP encounters. Unless you're unlucky and like a 10-man group lands on top of you and starts lasgunning the crap and like Ancient Wayne the crap out of you, you can pretty much escape most situations. So I think PvP, PvE in the deep desert isn't so bad currently. I don't want to race, no. Nico, I can barely land on the ramp on the other side of that damn thing. I can barely get to the other side half the time. More than half the time. I think I failed like 4 times, and I was, I'm at 50%. No, wait, that's less. 2 out of 6 times. So like 1/3 of the time, I can only make it across there. All right, exactly. Best say piece. Once again, we've moved forward. They've made that quality of life of being able now to reset all of your skills and do stuff acquirable. That is a great move forward. There's a lot of things that are improving that's coming out with things. Inventory handling, like, they are working on ways to make us be able to move our shit around a lot easier. Oh, you're talking to... I read stuff coming out that's popping up. What else, sir? What else, sir? Why have I left off? PvP balancing and fairness. We've already talked about this all night long. The new content, we already talked about that. Look, with the Landsrad system, I still am not happy with the Landsrad system. I like that there are like these quests that we have to run through and do. They're great. It's keeping people engaged, and it's making Landsrad worth something. But at the end of the day, everybody, like, I don't necessarily think Landsrad is in a proper place. The fact that one faction can literally win Landsrad in the first day, for me, is just a like game changer, game breaker. Game breaker is the word I don't want to use. I'm getting tired. So, like, definitely we need to see a fix on that. Somebody mentioned a pretty cool idea. I kind of like the idea that someone threw out there about being able to overturn. So, like, let's say we won Harada. It would be cool if you could do enough quests on the other side that would flip Harada back in your favor. Or make it neutral, then make it something else. Oh, yeah, I get tired. You know how it is, dude. Yeah, dude, I've had a long day. Like, I've been sitting on a sofa since 9 a.m. waiting for my son to call me to make sure he's alive and doing well in the Korean military. My man, I've been living like grinding teeth, stressful all day long, and it's still like not over. So yeah, I mean, things like this could make Landsrad last a little bit longer. I just don't think Landsrad should be something that is won in the first 2 days or the first day, first 3 days even. I think Landsrad should be a battle that is taking place over the entirety of a week. This also has a lot to do with the fact that they can't balance faction properly, yada, yada, yada. There's nothing we can really do to get in there. There just isn't enough variety of quests either. Having different difficulty tiers of quests be nice. Most of them feel almost like go sweep kinds of yeah, no, Josh, I am Josh Kazam. Like that name, by the way. Great name. I'm with you. Like, this is what's burned me out, is the fact that we're literally just doing the same quests over and over and over again and never getting anywhere with it. So yeah, definitely something that could be like pushing out that, making it more credible, more enjoyable, more incentivized would be a positive for us in many, many ways. Dev response, dev clarity, dev transparency. Look, Funcom has to learn to be more transparent. I don't know if it's a matter of Funcom being worried about the backlash for something they announced that isn't coming true, or they just feel like, I don't want to do it. I don't need to do it. The best games on the market right now all are extremely transparent with their player base. They are letting their player base know how things are going to be improving and what's going to be happening in the future. Funcom should not be an exception to this. Funcom should be on the horn, letting us know what to be expecting with stuff weeks in advance. This includes server merging and player transfers. Like, Funcom should not be making us wait till the last week to let us know about when server mergers are going to happen and yada, yada, yada. This is not the way a good company runs their dev team in terms of transparency. They should not be let out having an exception to the rule. Adjustments to progression and systems make gameplay feel a little bit less clunky, less punishing, more rewarding over time. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that could be coming out with balancing. Like, even though I joke about it with Harky, that is like literally a who's gonna say Icarus? I'm not gonna say Icarus. I only said because I'm reading it. Look, dude, I'm trying to stay on target here, Harky. I'm trying to stay on target. It's not a joke. Like, it's literally a strategy. You can literally like float around and shoot and kill the boss in all the ads with an ancient way. Yeah, okay, it gets the job done. I get it, but like, come on, dude. There's such a variety of weapons on display in this game that never get touched or used because they just don't improve them or balance them properly. We need to see more of that. That way, it's less of this like cheesy ancient way BS that we're getting currently in the game. Look, I know that PvP isn't flowing the way a lot of people want it to, but look, I gotta say, yes, best of space. AoE, I got you. I mean, technically, that's what you're doing with an ancient way is AoE. A lot of people aren't happy with the current state of PvP, but look, the end game has gotten better. This is the end of what I'm talking about tonight at the round table that I want to position out for people. The end game has indeed gotten better. Now, I'm not saying it's become like exceptionally the watermark of what end game should be in PCs, right? Thank you, Matsuda. You're letting my secret out. Look, in-game has gotten better. They've given us a grind loop. They've given us dungeons. And they are promising a revamp of the Deep Desert. At this point, we shouldn't be too like critical of the devs. Once again, This is what JP and I were talking about earlier. It's not as easy as it seems to be a dev. You can sit in a computer chair and theorize what would make a game better all day long and think, why can't this person do this? But there's theory and practice are two different topics that you have to like literally consider. Whenever you're benchmarking this game, and like literally the last thing I want to say, when you're benchmarking Dune on a personal level, please don't benchmark it and say that it's cooked and it's dead and it's useless. Benchmark it on what you are seeing happening on a monthly, bi-monthly basis. There are improvements happening. Sure, I also would have loved a finished game that kicked ass. But look, dude, what we have with Dune is a solid foundation that just needs tender love and care. It needs support from the people who are playing the game and clear communication with the dev team that is allowing them to help to fix this game in a direction that not only their vision, but also our visions can come true out of the Venn diagram of topics that are being thrown at these people. Remember, they're humans too. There's only so much the Funcom dev team can possibly push out at any given time. And I think they're not doing like AAA kick ass, badass like in-game changes, but it's getting there. So once again, just keep that in mind. Let's give these guys a hand for at least like jumping up, trying to keep the game rolling. Look, other games like New World literally have a studio that shat them out the fucking back door and said no more of this. I don't think this is ever going to happen with Dune. I don't think Dune is a money grab. I don't think Dune is a scam. I don't think Dune is anything but a game studio that might have reached too broad with their audience, and now they're having to backtrack to try to find a comfortable middle spot for the largest chunk of that population so that their game doesn't die. Let's make sure that we are giving them support and helping them out. Not only that, I would like for everybody to give a hand to Matsuda. Matsuda was tonight's moderator in Twitch. Thank you, Matsuda, for all of the dedicated work you put in there to helping people get into Discord and find their way to come and talk to me, as well as find the community and do things and keep stuff organized. On the other end, we have Raven in YouTube. She is my YouTube moderator. Everyone, please give her a hand as well. And I want to say thank you to you as well. You both take time out of your nights all the time to sit down, help out, and make sure that things are flowing smoothly. I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. You guys are making the shared experience in these streams so much better. My hat's off to both of you. Thank you so much. The next thing I would like to say is a thanks to all of you who still come in here and share these hours with me discussing painstaking, very arduous tasks and ideas to make this game work, and yet we still don't see them all coming to fruition. You guys are absolutely fantastic. You are the reason why I'm here. You are the driving force behind this boat, driving it out into the algorithms and reaching new audiences to talk to people to get them excited and interested in this game. Without you guys, we do not reach these depths ever. It is on that note that I want to say tonight I'm going to give away a free copy of Dune Awakening. That's right. The money's rolled in. Remember, all proceeds, all donations that come into our Twitch channel, yeah, I wish to everyone, Harky, to our channel, go right back into the community. I do not take any proceeds off of this at all. I legitimately keep it for fueling our servers for our community to play other games, such as now we are playing Icarus. So if you're into Icarus and you're interested in trying out the game with a good, helpful community, please make sure that you're jumping in there to do that. If not, you know, understandable. We also give away free games, free downloads. Tonight, you have a chance to win a copy of Dune Awakening Standard Edition. That's right. We are going to use that money that gets donated to us through subs and whatnot in Twitch. And I'm going to buy a key and I'm going to give it away to one of you guys. What I want you to do, hopefully somewhere in the near future, I have like a bot on my Twitch or whatnot that can just like randomly pick somebody's name. But I'm not that high tech, unfortunately. I have to do a random number generator. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have everybody punch out a single number. One number between 1 and 100. Only one number. Please do not type more than one number. You can get a free copy of Dune Awakening right here. It doesn't matter if you keep it as an alt. It doesn't matter if you're giving it away to a friend. It doesn't matter if you have a child that wants to play the game. Whatever. Whoever wins it, wins it. But you have exactly 2 minutes to punch this out. Not too many people. Not many people want you. Nobody wants a free copy of Dune Awakening. You guys crack me up. Well, you make it easier for the 12 people who do want a free copy of it. How about that? That works out good for everybody. Here it is right here. I mean, this is the day of the month where we sit around and discuss this stuff. Let's try to get an extra copy out there. You got 1 minute to type a number in there. You can only type one number. Remember that. I can't believe nobody wants a copy of Dune. It's like Dune is the most unpopular game to get for free. Dude, that's still a $40 investment that you're getting out there. Just saying. You guys crack me up. 44. Hey, wait a second. That's what I put out there. All right. Krezel, you're looking for that free copy, huh? I got you. I understand. All right. You could do it with a fourth alt. Well, I mean, now that you have Steam Share, there's really no reason to even have an extra account. Like, what I would hope is that you are getting this and you're giving it to a friend or somebody else, right? That way somebody else can share in and get it. I'm playing it right now, and I'm not a greedy man. No, 100%. Like, once again, though, this is your chance for a free copy of it, and whoever wins this, do what you want with it. All that I care is that we are giving this back out to the community and keeping people rolling in Dune Awakening with chances to, of course, like, have more people join the game. Now, where am I at? Chrome random number generator. Since he is my main man, my left hand, actually he's on the left, my left hand man, Matsu, what I want you to do is give me a random number between 1 and 100. And that is how many times I'm going to punch this random number generator. Whoever comes closest is the winner. Tell me, how many times should I be pushing the button? Let's zone in. Look at all this great Korean anime. He's not answering. All right, fine. I will pick it. 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 is the number. Oh my God. 20 out of 21. You gotta be kidding me. How crazy is that? Who is the closest? Someone tell me who is the closest to 20. Who is it? Give it to me. Give it to me. And let me know who I have to send this game key out to so that they can have a thing. Keith. Let me see. Let me see. Where are we at? Twitch. Let's kill this. Keefe was the closest. 20 was the number. You say Keefe is the close? Hey, what's up, Gold? How you doing? You literally just missed it. Keefe Sino. Keefe, were you 20? What? Let me see where you at. Keefe, 21. 21 is the... What do we have on YouTube? 50, 37, 288. Oh, I thought it was a different number. Mr. Tech Gadget's closest on YouTube. Yeah, Mr. Tech Gadget's 37, but Keefe Sino hit it almost on the dot with 21. Keefe Sino, you are the winner. Keefe, are you on our Discord? If you don't have to like join the Discord for long, but if you would, this would make it a little bit more secure and easier for me. Congratulations, Keefe, on winning this. Love you a long time. Thanks for playing and participating. Thank you for joining us in the stream as well. Like literally, Keefe, if you could please send me a message in Discord, and that's how I will reach you with that key. Just let me know whenever you can get that out, because I want to make sure I'm getting it to the right person. And I'm a little bit nervous sending out messages here on the Twitch or through YouTube. Discord, I just feel like I can control it a little bit easier, and it's a little bit more satisfactory for me knowing that I'm getting to the right thing. Thank you all once again for coming out here, sharing the night with me, and taking care of stuff. Sazi, are you about to be streaming? If not, I'm going to dump everybody on NRG. You're my number one go-to guy. If I can get them in your Twitch, I'll be happy. If not, we are going to go hang out with NRG tonight, which is another great guy. Weekends are busy for you. Okay, no problem. So that means we are going to be jumping in there, spending time with NRG. If you don't know NRG, he's a fun guy. He likes to drink. NRG does. He's a drinker. And he is big into Dune. You'll like him. He's fun. Has a lot to say. He has some like music playing in the background right now or something. I don't know exactly what's going on, but that's what he's doing. You'll like him. He's a fun guy, dude. He's a really fun guy. This is why I recommend going to see it in NRG. Thank you guys all once again, and thanks to Matsu and Raven for coming out there and supporting me as a moderator on both of my streams tonight. Thank you all who came in YouTube. You guys are freaking the best. Thank you for sticking around, watching my YouTube content, and also hanging out with me on live streams. Twitch, thank you guys all for wandering in here, doing stuff with me. Keefe, if you could, make sure that you could, please, I can, but it's going to take me a second. I have to actually go buy the key, and I can probably find you somehow or another that way. Thank you guys all. Keefe, I will make sure that you get this key. You don't have to worry about it, dude. Just if you want it through Twitch, you're just going to have to wait for a few minutes and I can get it to you. Once again, thank you guys all. Let's jump into NRG's stream. And Keefe, I will access and send you that key. I think I just click your name and send it. Okay. Thank you guys all. Keep your still suits tight, your Chris knife sharpened, your eyes in the sky, and as always, have a great day.